Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the start of the show of the Weebs of the Ring podcast, episode 55. Tonight is a packed show. It's the coverage of Monday Night Raw. It's no show of Seth freaking Rollins. It's a show of the Ring General coming back for his promo with Randy Orton, but gets interrupted by Drew McIntyre, but gets whipped by Punk. A lot of stuff happens. We also have the main event tonight, the headline story of IC title. Braun Breaker retains over Sami Zayn. The main storyline is what I just spoke about, Randy Orton. All time goes will be in the bottom for all the coverage and the rundown. As I said, and we'll continue to be talking about in the mid-card story, Odyssey Jones with who the fuck does he fight? Cause I don't remember. Was it Winey, bitchy? Who knows? Some bum. American Made versus Alpha Academy. And we have YS6 video package talking about the present to the future, what they have meant from last week and the past 11 years. We have the continuation of the Pete Dunne story with Sheamus in the backstage. Everything has been going on, and do not ever call him Butch again. He will get mad like Stardust. Rhea Ripley kicks off the show on Monday Night Raw, and we have a match set in Berlin like we have spoken about. Whawkins hit it on the money like it's been right all along. Mixed tag match in Berlin. We'll break that down. And it was Damien Priest versus Carlitos, Io Sky and Kairi Zayn versus Shayna Baszler versus and Zoe Stark. That happened. Very zoned out. But the last match and conversation for the night is Miz versus Bronson Reed destroying R-Truth. So as you heard from our breakdown and rundown for the show, all time codes will be down below in the description, in the chapter of the video, post VOD. We appreciate you guys for watching. So without further ado, let's get started for the show.
Oh, it is a show indeed. Happy Monday to all of you wonderful people out there. Happy Monday to my fellow co-hosts as well. It's Monday. You know what that means. It's time for Monday Night Raw chat. Hopefully you guys are popping tonight. It is going to be a late one, but hey, we're going to be talking about everything Raw. We'll keep it some things short and sweet, some things maybe a little bit longer. Now, if you're new here, don't be afraid. Don't be alarmed. Just hold on. Just grab a table, grab a chair, and enjoy a show. Because who are we but just three guys who have anime in our souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control? We're a trio of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling. So allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling event of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all nerds out there. So grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience like none other. Brought to you by AniMa Studio. This is the Weebs of the Ring podcast, and for the first time in what feels like ages, decades, millennia, for 10,000 years, our trio is back in full force. We're all here. We're all welcomed. Guys, how are we doing today? How was your weekends? And just how you doing on this start of the normal work week for everybody? Vash, I'm going to start with you. How you doing today?
Good to be back. We're here for the show. Weebs of the Ring episode 55. The visionary, legendary Vash, like you said. Glad to be present here without Seth freaking Rollins for the show. But we're here to break down the awesome IC 2 out of 3 match that I can't wait to talk about. Great. Out of the whole show Raw, only one was a sleeper, but can't wait for us to discuss. It's not them, it's a story. Nobody's fucking interested, and that's the sad part. But it's good to be here to start the week. Monday Night Raw. We have a good coverage for the brand with 2 other shows coming out later this week. So I can't wait to have a good time.
Oh, good time we'll have indeed. And of course, back on my top left corner, the angel to Vash's devil, because it's the beard. I'm sorry, dude, it's the beard. Drop this box. You're back from vacation. How was the beach, dude? How was everything?
Everything was really good. Had a fun time. It was good to take some time off to relax and everything, but it's good to be back and just do the show because it's been quite some time since I've been able to speak my piece on everything that's been going on.
Oh yeah, and man, there's been a lot of stuff going on too. But we'll get into all that in a second. Chat, hopefully you're doing well out there if you're live here. If you're not, you're watching the VOD, let us know down in the comments what you thought of Raw, what you think is going to happen here going into Bash of Berlin, because we got a few matches solidified for the show, even just from tonight. But as always with our Monday nights, let's not waste any time. Let's get right into everything because there's a lot to go through. First of all, our headline story tonight, our main event, 2 out of 3 falls for the IC title. Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn. Banger of a match. Kind of went the opposite of what I thought it was going to do, but again, very, very good match overall. But I want to turn to my co-host, guys. Vash, I want to start with you because you were kind of writing some notes here and there during this match. What do you think of the action and especially the winner of this match and how everything went with it?
So, as a fan of the match and a fan of Sami Zayn, I was really impressed. Uh, the better match they gave us than SummerSlam. The match was supposed to go 10 minutes roughly, but then it was actually, I think, a good 7 or 8 minutes. What it came to be. This for to be a 2 out of 3 match when Sami Zayn won the first round and then Braun Breaker got the last 2. I knew it was bound to happen. But just to see the turn of events, where how it led up to the spots, the moments. A bit of it was predictable, but that's just me seeing the shows week to week and analyze it more, so that's more on me, not them. But I was truly entertained. My favorite spot was the ending, the finisher of how Braun Breaker attacked with a spear while Sami Zayn was in the air. That was one of my favorite spots. It was very well executed, and I'm happy for Braun Breaker. I'm happy for his first title defense was the 2 out of 3 with Sami Zayn. Curious to see where Sami Zayn will go from here, since we know eventually he has to kind of depart from the story and who Braun Breaker will go with next in the story. So I'm really curious and very excited for this turn of events overall. I was really entertained by this match. That is my first impressions.
All right. And what about you, Job? What were your first impressions of all the action that we got tonight? I don't know if you were a lot like me. I thought this was actually going to be kind of a quicker 2 out of 3 falls match. I thought maybe Braun would have more of an advantage, but I mean, I was satisfied. But what about you? How satisfied were you with what we got tonight?
Honestly, like it went the way I figured it would go down because I already knew coming into this match that Sami Zayn wasn't going to win because it really wouldn't make sense given that Braun just got the title, so he's definitely going to be having that title for quite some time. I mean, I definitely expect him to have that title around WrestleMania season as well. I don't really see him losing it anytime soon because you got to look at it like this. This is WWE building one of their future stars in the company, and if you really want to make a statement, you got to have him have the title for quite some time to actually make it mean something. But I like the match, and it was nice to see Braun hit spears like that because he did stuff like that all the time in NXT. So it's nice that he did a spear like that on the main roster where he just catches people midair. Because if you guys want to get a good example of that, just look at all of Carmelo and Braun's matches because he used to do that stuff all the time.
Oh yeah, like I felt like that was a staple with Braun and Carmelo matches. Like Carmelo would try to do some aerial move, and then Braun would just catch him midair. But Braun actually caught Sami Zayn a few times in this match, with different slams and all that, just like catching him midair or mid move even too. I think honestly, my spot of the night might have to be when Braun caught Sami outside of the ring and he just like launched him into the timekeeper's area. Dude, I felt bad for the camera guys tonight. They were either in the way a lot or just poor victims of circumstance.
I hope that was on purpose. The camera shot.
I hope so too.
That when Braun Breaker grabbed Sami from the barricade and he was gonna stampede, pun intended, with Sami straight to the barricade across and do a spear and throw him to the ground. when he did that, his legs on the kick up put the camera up. I'm hoping to God that was a choice by the camera team, or it actually was done on, like, by accident, but it just worked effectively smooth, and then the camera just went back down smoothly and just went on the close up. I love that shot. If it wasn't done
Mm-hmm.
on purpose, the executive and went along with it so smoothly where they didn't hesitate. Because I know in the old regime, they would have hesitated so fast and cut to the other camera so fast.
Oh yeah. Now oh my gosh, I tried to watch a match. What was it? It was like a 2000. It was Survivor Series like 2017. Yeah, I think it was 2017. I tried to watch that the other night, and dude, I almost got sick with the camera cuts. I almost
Wow.
did. I mean, I know it wasn't. It wasn't as bad as a as it could be from back then, but it was bad enough for me to be like, okay, I need to turn something else on. Like I can't handle this right now.
That's crazy.
Mm,
Because I can't wait to go to the experience, because I know by the time when I have kids, I'm going to have them go to the experience of watching Raw from the 2000s to now. So it's going to be an
mm,
interesting transition from seeing regimes type of era, like how they transition throughout. So that'd be intriguing. But going back to the match, it was dope to also see our boy Jay Uso continue the storyline of him being part of the event with Sami, being out there with his boy, doing the little clap that they got, saying like, "Yo, after this, after they get his W back, we're gonna still go for the Judgment Day and their title." So I love how that's reminded to the audience, because they haven't brought their titles out in a couple of 2 weeks. So I'm glad that that was still spoken about to the audience to remind us like, hey, that's still on the line. They still they still took a W 2 weeks ago. So story, progressive, long, longevity is important, and I love that.
mm. Yeah, and I'm actually kind of glad you brought up the J aspect of all this, and this was actually something I was gonna kind of ask you about. Drop here. Um, how do you feel about like this little wrinkle with everything? Because like a lot of people when they're predicting the rest of the year and all that, they're thinking, oh, Jay and Sam are gonna end up somehow, some way with back with Roman and back with Jimmy and the whole Bloodline 2.0 War Games thing. Um, where do you think this is going to be going with this kind of wrinkle here? Where like because we saw last week when Sammy and Jay were talking, like Sammy was kind of down on himself, kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can win it. I don't know if I can win the big one again. So yeah, where do you think all this could be leading to?
I mean, I definitely feel like down the line it is going to lead into them eventually joining Roman to go up against the Bloodline. But
Mm,
obviously, it's going to be one of those things where it's going to take quite some time to get to, because they're all not going to come together just like that in the snap of a finger. Because you got to look at it from a story perspective, especially if you're like reading a book and you're looking at all these different kinds of things leading up into that big plot point that gets addressed later on in the story. You got to look at what Roman Reigns did to them when they were all together originally, because he treated all of them like crap. So
yeah.
obviously, looking at it from a perspective of somebody like Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, they're not gonna really side at Roman like that because they just went through a lot of stuff with him. So they're gonna have to like slowly work that. If I had to give an example, look at the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens story from last year
Hmm.
before they reunited at WrestleMania to go up against the Usos for the tag titles. It took them quite some time to really rekindle things, well, at least from Kevin's perspective, because he's always displayed that sort of character around Sami Zayn for well, not just Sami Zayn, for a lot of people, but it took quite some time for them to reunite. So I expect it to be a similar situation of Jey Uso and Sami Zayn when it comes to Roman Reigns and everything, because so far we've just seen Roman with the new bloodline. So I definitely feel like this is going to lead to that. And like my question is like, okay, how are we going to get there? Because we know we have the
Hmm.
pieces to get there. It just, how are we going to get there? And we know this whole thing is being set up for them to have like the tag titles and everything. So I'm trying to figure out exactly like what's going to be the reason for them to go over there? Like, it's not just them having a match and like, oh my god, we're tag team champions now, and then the other ones are tag team champions as well. Okay, let's go head to head with one another. Like, no, there has to be something that like really stands out. And I think one of the key factors that might be actually what I'm thinking it has to be Jimmy.
Yeah. Yeah, Jimmy's got to be like the linchpin in most of this, because like, and I don't think I was talking to you guys about this. I think it was with this text chat I have with some people, but because they're, you know, everybody's pretty much in agreement about like, oh, Jay and Sami joining Roman and all that stuff, but it's like I kept reminding them in there too. It's just like you have to be very delicate with this storyline, because like it's not just like, oh, reuniting with a tag team partner, or oh, reuniting with a long lost family member or anything. No, it's like it's literally Jay. Like Sami, I would get. Like Sami's a nice guy. He can join up with Roman and be like, oh, I'll help you out. You know what? You treated me pretty badly, but you know what? I'm a fairly forgiving person. I mean, again, look, he went back to Kevin Owens after everything. But like, Sami's such a good guy. I could see him being, you know, helping Roman out, no questions asked. Jay, on the other hand, you have to rate very delicately, because he went through a lot of abuse, not just from like last year, but like 2020. So like for Jay, it's going back to your abuser. So it's like you kind of have to be very delicate with that, because people can read into that. You know,
it depends how you write the story of the babyface of Roman currently, and with Jay Uso being the hype man he is. So, and you have to give context clues with actual story reasoning within wrestling as a soap opera that it is. So I'm really curious to see how, from now in August, where are we going to end by the end of the year? So it'll be very intriguing how the type of right now conversation we're having of August of episode 55 by episode 100 by 100 in December, wonder where the store would be. So I'd be very curious.
Yeah, my next question is as well, because we saw it brought up tonight with Adam Pearce. He said he was going to take care of something towards the end of the night. Did we ever find out what that was, or is that building up to something in the future?
I'm assuming he's just building up for this future. They do like to have their little GM social media blasts where it's just like, here's what's going to be happening. It could deal with maybe an announcement there, but I mean, I don't want to say it would be cheap if he did it that way, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. How do you feel with, because I know a lot of people was very shocked about this at the first win, I think was in Money in the Bank with Sami Zayn against Bron Breakker, where he took him out with one hell of a kick, and then he got the pinfall 1-2-3 over the Money in the Bank. Now we're back here in the round one. He took him down with one hell of a kick, and he got him in a 1-2-3 in the pinfall. What did you guys think about this? Was this again like it feels too rushed or feels too fast for Bron Breakker as the guy in his type of magnitude, his type of strength, to be taken down in one hell of a kick? Or do you think story-wise it makes sense for Sami to do that?
Are you talking about the match compared to the original one they had?
No,
I think it's mainly like Braun going down to one finisher. I think.
Yes.
Oh,
so it's like, yeah.
I mean, definitely compared to how we saw him being built up, it was a little weird because you would expect somebody like Bron Breakker to last a little bit longer, just built on how they were showcasing him towards the audience. So I was like caught off guard with that, because when I was looking at that, I was like, what are we doing here? I mean, we're building this guy to be a monster. It's kind of like you bring Braun Strowman back and then you have him job to people like every single week. You know, looking at the size of that guy, would you really expect something like that? Or let's say Obi Femi, for example, because Obi Femi was here today because he's supposed to be having a open challenge tomorrow at NXT. It's like bringing a big guy like him and just having him be taken out like every single week. When you look at Braun Breaker, they're building him up to be the next big guy. Down, just considering like how you're trying to build him up, because we've seen that being showcased before, where certain wrestlers hit their finisher a good 2 to 3 times before they take somebody down, especially if they're like building up their next top star. Because, you know, look back at like what we saw with like John Cena. John Cena's not going to get taken out with like one RKO. You got to hit John Cena with an RKO a good 2 to 3 times before you take him out. So I kind of felt like they could have, you know, handled that a little bit better. But I would definitely say where they're at now, it's definitely a better presentation of Braun Breaker, because that's definitely what you want to see with him.
I'd have to go back to the Money in the Bank match mainly because sometimes my memory can be very crap. So like, I'd have to see where that Helluva kick came from, because like, especially so for tonight with the Helluva kick that got Sami that first pinfall, it came out of nowhere. Like he just because Braun was so focused on doing the clothesline, like the clotheslines to Sami in the corner, that, you know, as soon as he turned around, wham, you know, hit him right where it hurts, you know, getting the 1, 2, 3. Like for me, that's like, okay, I get that, because again, came out of nowhere, or whatever. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about their Money in the Bank match. I didn't know you were talking about the one. If you're talking about the one from tonight, I think they were just short on time. That's probably why they were orchestrating stuff like that.
Probably,
because they didn't start that match until like 10:45, and normally a 2 out of 3 falls match normally lasts a good 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
See, that's why I kept thinking. That's why I kept thinking Braun was going to win with like, I mean, not like quick victories, but like quicker. What's the word? In quick succession were going to be his victories. You know, like, because that's the thing. He did, you know, the 2 spears before getting his first one, and then after that could be like Sami sold that pin, like that spear, for a while, like enough to where Braun was just like, I'm going to try to pin you, and then gets rolled up for a near fall with that. So that's where my mind was with it. But yeah,
I also would like to say that my boy Sami, you crawled to the ring. That was almost a 9.8, 9.5 pin count. I mean, not pin count. That's a
the count out.
Yeah, the count out. That was like a 9.5, 9.8, like call, like my dude in the middle of that tank. He's like, okay.
He almost didn't make it. He almost was just like, should I just take the paycheck now?
Right, he's like, ref. I guess you made it, Sami, when I was like about to put my other hand up and count it as a full 10, but I guess 9.5, 9.8, sure. That was a close one. I will hope that from now on, somehow the production team and Braun Breaker could work together, because I like this first perspective type of spears, or the camera team being in the way, because it felt very realistic. It felt like the camera team, like the audience, was right there in the match. Hopefully the camera team and Braun Breaker could find a way to work like this in the future more, because this will be very interesting.
I feel like Braun Breaker has become the little guinea pig for production to test a lot of shit with. So it's like
spears, over the head camera, all the drinks. He's their test dummy
tonight. Yeah, like he is literally like, the test dummy for production, which, you know what? Fine. If you're going to test any different other camera angles with anybody, have it be Braun Breaker.
You normally get that anyway.
Exactly, because like, again, he gets what I've dubbed the overhead spear. Like he only has that. Like I thought they were going to give that to Roman on Friday, but they didn't. I was like, you're not getting the overhead spear? It's a Braun Breaker thing. Oh, yes, it's his move that Triple H knows. Triple H, you're one of the few people watching this right now, and so that makes me happy because you're listening. Finally, somebody listens.
That's a good perspective to realize, like, A, it can actually be a Braun Breaker thing, like they want to keep it unique. 2, they also already have their own style with Roman having the close up, like close up far, close up far
Mm-hmm.
on the west right. If people don't notice, production team have a rhythm. People know that their team have a call and know how to cue it. This is how you work in symmetry. Because the way that Braun Breaker got that spear at the end, I felt like it was the way Randy Orton does his RKO as well in midair. When Randy does that midair RKO and gets them like right on cue, it
Yep.
felt like Braun Breaker
Mm-hmm.
did the right on cue with the speed. Like, okay, ready, 1, 2, he got him. It just felt so good to
Yep.
see.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, it's nice to see that one of the Deadpool variants decided to grace us with their presence in chat. How you doing, Pizza Pool? Did you bring me my pepperoni? I ordered it like an hour ago.
What's up, Pizza
Oh
Pool? What's
man,
up,
and
Oblivion?
Oblivion.
They're back to see the drop, to drop these knowledge, to drop these
Oh,
views. We can welcome.
see how it is. See how
Mhm.
it is.
But
Oh
overall,
man, but yeah.
great main event. Happy to see Braun
Oh
Breaker
yeah.
end the show. Great main event to entertain us. I had a good time with this 2, 3, and 4. Wish it was like another 5, 10 minutes longer. Would have been a good entertainment from them. But I know eventually we're gonna see Ilja Dragunov go for the IC title as well. So really can't wait to see that happen. And hopefully Jey Usos go for the title. Any other people, probably Chad Gable, probably down the line, or even the White Six. Who knows? I'm just throwing random
Yeah.
names
Yeah.
that maybe I would love to see.
I can definitely see them
Nah, it's
getting
all
like some
good.
sort of tag team gold or something.
Yeah.
Wyatt 6.
Oh, that'd be nice. Ah, man. But yeah, so much like Braun Breaker's walking to the ring promo, nice, short, sweet, to the point conversation here.
Oh yeah, you're
Everything was
right.
great. Everything was awesome. Yeah.
Yo,
It's,
he made.
badasses are just going to do what badasses do. Hey, come on. Come on, Pat. The fact that Pat McAfee was his hype man on I love that. How he just mentioned the Pat. He's just like, all right, football, Pat. Tell me how many dogs I got or whatever it was.
Yo, I just want to say
It's
I didn't
great.
expect. I didn't expect a grown man to tell the whole stadium to bark for him. He literally got grown adults to be barking in the whole arena and just
Yeah.
getting ready for a wrestling match. I was like, this. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but whenever I hear the barking, it reminds me of the meme of Makima. I always associate that with now. And I
Oh,
hate that. Like my brain just
I mean,
associates that every time now the meme with Makima. The barking. Like every time Braun Breaker says that, I think of the howling of of the wolf dogs and Makima. That's what I always think of now. Yeah.
well,
Just a food for
you know
thought,
what? I
guys.
approve of the Makima. I approve of the Makima barking, but they could. You know what? I kind of agree. I wish they could have been more tame, like Orton asking everybody to sing his music and sing his praises and all that, because he is out here with a promo. We're gonna talk about this. Is gonna be our main storyline here because as it doesn't feel like it has as much heat as it should, but dang, is this going to be a banger of a match when we get to it in Berlin? Because Randy Orton's out here giving a promo.
They're cooking.
Uh, yeah, he's cooking. Everybody's cooking and all. He mentions that to the month. It's been 20 years since his first world title win. Now, who did he win that title from? Or name redacted. That's who he won the title from. But Gunther wastes no time, and we get a fun little bit of trivia here where for like 75% of the time Gunther's been in WWE, he's been a champion.
Yep.
Oh yeah, because it was the UK champion, and then it
Mhm.
was him.
The IC.
I don't think he never had NXT title.
No.
Well, besides the actual title, just the UK one, and then he went from IC champion and now world champion. So yeah, that is pretty accurate.
Yeah. Like almost like Charlotte, because Charlotte's kind of in that way too, where it's like when she's
Yeah.
around, it's weird not seeing her with a title.
Now
You
that
know?
Nia has a title and knowing how she has that whole queen gimmick going on, you already know it's a matter of time before Charlotte's gonna want to
Mhm.
claim that throne again.
Exactly. And
It's bound to happen because
yeah,
then
but
that girl is healing, so that's bound to happen. But our boy Randy gave us the interesting knowledge from from him being a 20-year,
Commercial.
having his first champion, and by commentary telling us about Gunther having 75%. Honestly, people need to understand that's a honest to God beautiful way to be told about your wrestling career, saying that within one of the biggest company in the world, 75% of your career already has been to be a champion. I want people to realize, to know that's amazing news to hear.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, they kind of have the typical heel face back and forth here, but I like where we're going with this because it's with Gunther basically telling Orton that he's wasted his potential, which is it's kind of weird because Orton's a 14-time world champion, buddy. Like, and he's still able to do this on a weekly basis for 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Plus, he recently signed a 5-year contract today, so he's still in the game.
So it's like, and plus, even Orton tells him, he's just like, "Look, I'm living the American dream. I got a hot wife. We got kids. I'm multi-time world champion." Like,
he was so proud of that. He was so proud of that. I told my wife because me and my wife was paying attention to that. It's like that whole segment because we were having dinner, and I was like, if I was Randy, I would have said the same thing. I probably would have been like Edge and gone a bit extra, but I understand Randy. Man was proud. He was like, how you telling me I have wasted potential? I got 5 amazing kids. I got a beautiful wife.
Yeah.
I have a 15-time champion under my belt, my resume. And I love how he was so proud of that, so cocky. Like, he shows that confidence. And I love how he just talks about that he has made many mistakes compared to the people in the locker room. He talks about his past. He talks about how controversial he is throughout all that. But at the end of the day, he said, I don't give a fuck about your opinion, though, so go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, I don't get it. I didn't get that, like, twist of it,
I have a question. Did anybody laugh about the USA chants? Because I did laugh about that. It was so off guard.
I did too.
I'm like, are we in Paris? Are we in Italy where we're gonna get the USA champs? Because I'm like, I haven't heard of USA in a long time in arena, but also felt very like Randy is USA and Gunther's not. I guess that's that's like the stab. I'm like, I guess, sure, but I didn't feel no type of hype from it. I was like, USA. When I hear that,
I found it funny.
It funny
because
of American Dad.
Orton's. Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah. I found it funny because it's like, oh, yeah, chant USA, USA, yeah, but wait, you're gonna be in what they're booking as Gunther's home country, going for the title. Wait a minute. Wait a minute here. Hold on. I guess that was the other thing that was kind of weird about this. Again, because like USA changed, but it's like you're not even going to be in America challenging for the title.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
Nobody's going to be cheating.
So off with the chant. Like, also, I love how Randy. It felt like he broke fourth wall when he also told the crowd, like, "Hey, soak it in, enjoy this moment, crowd. That you're having the guy that is gonna have a free schedule on a Friday night." And become Randy Orton Monday nights. So I just love how he spoke to the audience and gathered them and told them, like, hey, this is what's going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. Gunther, you're going to be having some free Friday nights from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. But, like, this segment was just kind of filled with, like, weird, like, mini segments with it. Because, like, again, with, like, the whole Gunther being, like, oh, wasted potential to, like, the USA chants to then Drew McIntyre coming out here to take care of business and basically run a distraction to kind of prove Orton right in all of this.
Yeah, because he got Gunther in an RKO in front of him. He said, I'm going to see it coming. He turned around like, okay, here, I show it to you. Boom, he got it very well.
Yeah, that's one of the things I can say about Gunther tonight. Because I think one of the things I did enjoy what he said was probably when we saw him throwing those insults to Randy's family, because you always have to get like personal with somebody, especially if you want to heat up the feud. So I did like that part of it. But it's like talking about the wasted potential thing. That's something you would say to like an Austin Theory.
Yeah.
If that makes more sense if you think about it, because look at how Theory's been showcased so far, and if you have Gunther say something like that to him, it adds more weight. But if you're saying it to Randy, I mean, he's accomplished more than you, so
yeah.
How does that make any sense? He's a 14-time champion. He's main evented WrestleManias. He's won Royal Rumbles. He's been a Money in the Bank winner. I mean, it's not really adding up.
Yeah, it's like
even saying that.
Oh no, you can go ahead. I was just gonna say it's like saying 2 + 3 = chair. Like,
yeah,
no.
Like I get it why he did it, because he wanted that cheap heel heat, or however they were trying to go with that. But I don't know. It just didn't like. I'm not saying I hated it. It just didn't really make sense.
Yeah, like the logic just wasn't there with what Gunther was saying.
Yeah.
But like in a way, it almost kind of did feel like he was getting inside of Orton, because like one thing to remember with Randy Orton too is he does have a hot temper.
Yep,
he does.
And I think Gunther's playing on that.
Once he mentioned his grandfather and his father, he dropped the mic. He got close to him. He's like, yo, you say one more word and I will. He was ready to just straight up fight, and it's just small type of segments that's gonna slowly build up until the main event in the POE of Bash of Berlin. So I can't wait to see the more moments that Randy starts to hear voices in his head, and he starts to turn heel.
And he starts slapping the mag and hit the RKO, but
remember, so he still owes Nick Aldis another RKO too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he needs to give him one as well, which I'm sure he will before he leaves SmackDown eventually. But yeah. So, like I said, Drew McIntyre comes out here. Now, Drew McIntyre, why are you out here? Yeah. Well, earlier in the night, he's backstage talking to Adam Pearce. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, he was proving that tonight thanks to a certain CM Punk. But like, Drew's backstage trying to talk to Adam Pearce, being like, "Oh, why is Orton getting the shot? I kept getting screwed over," like all that stuff. Which, like, okay, you're still kind of justified, but it's like, it's Orton's turn now. It's Orton's turn now to get his redemption, you know? Like, let him have it. And I think that's what Pierce was trying to say, but, like, again, Pierce is kind of a little bitch, so he's just, like, not saying it directly, you know? Whereas Nick Aldis, if it was Nick Aldis, he'd be like, Drew, shut up. Like, he would just tell him to shut up.
But I feel bad for Adam, because Adam has to deal with Bronson Reed, continue doing bullshit, continue hurting and having a tsunami of, 6 times back to back. So, it's like, hey, Drew, if you don't want to listen, then do whatever the fuck you want. Like, Adam Pearce was like, all right, Drew, go hit up whoever you want. Whoever you're going to hit, they're going to fight back. And guess what? He didn't fight back. He whipped your ass by 1, 2, 3, 4 belts on the back of Drew McIntyre. And he posted a picture. I'm sorry, chat. I didn't get the chance to get the picture ready. I was trying to rush
don't
get
worry.
The picture ready. But it was amazing. Drew McIntyre got hit like 4 times and has the back fully red.
Oh, yeah. That back looked nasty. So if you do go over and look at that picture, be warned. Be warned. It looks... it's got like welts going on it. I'm pretty sure you can play Connect 4 on it. Like, it's rough looking. But yeah, so CM Punk was the man who gave Drew McIntyre the old whipping and all that. And he talks backstage with Kathy Kelly. Apparently, Punk told a little white lie. It was just like, oh, yeah, travel issues. I'm not going to be there. Trying to think outside the box, trying to prove that Drew McIntyre is just what he is, a little bitch. So, it kind of gives Punk an idea here. And, Drop, I think you had mentioned this too before we started tonight, is this might be leading up to a strap match. How are we feeling about a strap match possibly being at Bash in Berlin?
I'm okay with it because that's one of the things that's definitely needed with this feud is you need to have like some sort of stipulations at this point because you had their singles match that started off and then you're going to have their second match where there's even more heat now, so you got to spice things up a little bit, and making it to a strap match would be pretty nice to see. And then from there, you can go to Bad Blood and have a Hell in a Cell match and just conclude the feud right here. But I'm all here for it. And Punk was alluding to it when we saw him backstage when he was talking. So I'm definitely expecting to see something like that. I mean, I'm all down for it. It's honestly pretty exciting. I know the crowd in Berlin is probably going to be all over this match. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is going to be a really fun contest, and I like too here where backstage again. Well, there's a couple other things I like from this. First of all, when we come back from commercial break, we're seeing Punk walk down the hallway, and we see Gunther walk by too. I think it was Gunther. It looked like Gunther. I had to rewind myself to kind of see if it was or not. It looked like Gunther, and he was so mad that he got RKO'd. He like knocked down these perfectly placed water bottles that were on these crates back there.
I definitely missed that one.
So I had to rewind it because at first I thought it was Ilya Dragunov, and I'm like, wait a minute, why would Ilya be doing that? Let me rewind real quick. But then I saw like the coat and all that. I'm like, okay, that's Gunther. He's pissed. All right,
would you
great.
guys feel if Ilya Dragunov goes for the World Heavyweight title against Gunther, would you guys feel if it's too soon, or do you think he's kind of jumping the line? How would you guys feel if that happens, since him and Gunther already have history? Just want to throw that out to you guys, since you guys are the veterans about the knowledge between Ilya Dragunov and Gunther. I don't know much about the history, so I want to know, would you think that could have a placeholder and have a good excuse for him to jump the line in case that happened?
I feel like that's one of the end game feuds for Gunther because you even saw the tension being built up when they first made eye contact with each other for the very first time.
Yeah.
And Triple H knows how many people want that match, just like how he knows how many people want the Cody and Randy match. So I feel like that match itself is probably going to be saved for a certain point. I don't really know if I see it happening this year. I can see it at a Royal Rumble, possibly a WrestleMania, because a match at that level is worth being at like one of the big four PLEs, in my personal opinion. I don't think I would really want to see it at like a Bad Blood or any other B-level pay-per-view. Like, I think either Royal Rumble or WrestleMania would fit it best.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Whawkins?
I mean, here's the thing, Triple H. You made me go no geek for a couple weeks. That's how badly, that's how like insatiably I wanted Ilya Dragunov and Gunther. But with that being said, though, like Dragunov kind of needs to be built up a little bit more. Like, we've seen him.
Too.
And it's not like building him up as like, oh, he's a star, blah, blah, blah. It's not only just that, just, with crowd reactions and all that. But, like, again, like, when I think of wrestling, I also kind of think of it like an RPG kind of thing. So it's like, okay, Ilya Dragunov just hasn't gotten the levels yet to be there. It's like, oh, you can't challenge for the World Heavyweight title until you're, like, level 20. And right now, Ilya is probably about maybe level 14 or 15, like he's getting good reactions and all that. And the matches he puts on right now are really good, but he's still not there yet. He's not at like the level 20 minimum that he needs to be at for the world title.
He definitely needs to, because like when you have somebody like that, especially with how they're being showcased on television right now, You need to like actually make like we already know he's a worthy opponent for Gunther, but you need to build him up so the crowd knows he's a worthy opponent for Gunther. And based on what we've seen from him so far, he's been losing a couple matches. Not saying that's his fault because that's how they're trying to build up the whole story. But he needs to like climb the mountain before he gets to Gunther, so you could take him as like a serious threat. Not saying he isn't, but for the crowd, the casual audience, so they could get behind him.
I agree. I see your perspective. That's why I asked. I'm glad you guys give me your answer because I want to know more perspective in case any of the audience or chat also had some type of idea as well. Now you also have an answer.
But just to kind of go back to with all this, with Punk, I found it funny that he kind of had to explain the whole bracelet thing, and because I mean, okay, the whole argument with it kind of reminds me of
Will
the whole
Smith
argument
slap?
that was going on with with what?
Will Smith slapping? Take your name.
Um.
My wife out your damn mouth.
Well,
Like
yeah, there's that.
He did say take your name of my dog's name Larry and my wife's name out of your damn mouth. That's literally almost the same ideology for me. Literally when he said that, like almost like Will Smith.
Yeah, no, it's like I get the thing with Larry though, because it's like, wait, you can't call Sydney her. You can't call her Sydney. You don't deserve the right to call her Sydney. She's my girl. What? No. No, that's a good shout with that. But I think the other thing too is just like it reminded me, and Drop, you might remember this too. Like way back during MHA time, MHA was still a thing. Weekly, blah blah blah. It was when Ochiko met up with Toga during like the raid part, and if you remember, the whole online discourse was that people were thinking, no, it was after that. It was like in the city, like after like Shigaraki got away when
yes. When they're inside the building.
Yeah, when they're inside the building fighting.
Okay,
where everybody thought that they were fighting over the little keychain that Ochiko had.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Like it was on those levels, I feel like, and bless Punk for like giving people the actual context, being like, no, it's not about the bracelet, it's what the bracelet means. It's like the meaning behind it, the context of it. Like it's not the physical object, it's the heart behind it. Because he even said, he's just like, he can keep the bracelet for all I care. And just like what Vash was referencing with like the Will Smith thing, like, yeah, keep my dog's name and my wife's name out your freaking mouth. Like
everyone
I'm not having any of that.
No matter what's the price is for a person is priceless, is what the sentimental value is to them, what it means, the values toward a person. For CM Punk character and everything, he doesn't give a fuck about the bracelet. Is what it values for, and Drew is taking advantage of that. And like, bitch, Drew, continue spitting your mouth about my dog's name and my dog's and my wife's name. We're gonna have trouble continuing on week to week, and I'm gonna come and travel and say I'm late, but now I'm gonna come back behind you and I'm gonna slap you with your own damn belt. That shit was hilarious. That's all I'm gonna say. That shit was funny. How you gonna get slapped by your own damn belt and you left that shit? You gave him the weapon, my G. Drew, you gave him the accessory.
And I love how Punk references that. He's just like, Drew gave me an idea. So when we get this inevitable strap match, Drew, it's on you. Just like what Punk has been saying for like months now. Like you're the reason for your own. Yeah, you're the reason for your downfall. It's all because of you. So I'm looking forward to that. Do we have any other comments about like this main storyline? I know this is like kind of two storylines put together, but again, WWE kind of did that too, anyways. So I don't know, because there's just like a lot going on with these two.
Do I have any last thoughts? No, not really. I was really entertained by the story involving Drew, Randy, everyone having a good time, everyone intertwined with another. So if anything, they could have their own match next week just to give it, or have a 2 versus 2 it would be nice to see like a random thing of Gunther and Drew tag match versus Randy and CM Punk. Like that would be so unexpected. I would laugh if it actually happens. It just popped in my head. I'm like, I want that match now. Fuck, that sounds exciting. A tag team match of Gunther and Drew versus Randy and CM Punk. Please inject that in my veins. Fuck yeah.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that because I had the same thought when Punk came out. I'm like, oh wait, what if we get that tag match? Because it made me think of Punk saying, a lot of people want me and John to wrestle again, which, I mean, yeah, that would be cool. But he mentioned, oh, what would be even cooler is if me and John Cena tagged with each other. And then, like, tonight, it just kind of made me think of that statement. Just like, oh, he could tag with Randy, and that would be so cool. That'd be a cool moment. So
works.
I'm glad you thought of that too. Yeah.
I thought about the spot, so I'm glad I'm the only one. Hopefully, chat, you are on it too. You like this idea as well. Let us know in the comment section below if you fuck with this idea. Would you love to see a tag match of Randy and CM Punk versus Gunther and Drew McIntyre? Raw, go book it for next week, Monday. You give it to us live on Free TV.
I mean, don't tempt him. Don't tempt Triple H. He'll cook. He might not cook as slow as Sean, but he'll cook. He cooks slow. Oh, man. But hey, from one story that is now part of our main headline story, mainline story, whatever, we're going to move on to our mid-card stories now. And one story that was part of our mainline stuff was the Judgment Day. So we had Rhea Ripley start the night off, and she's been thinking about SummerSlam every single night, just thinking about it constantly, going through her head about it, and like, part of her is just like embarrassed, sad, but I love how she's just like, you know what? It really just kind of pissed me off, which good on you. And she's just like, she lays into people. She lays into Dom. She lays into Liv. But there was a part of me that felt a little bad for Dom because Rhea was just like, look, you tried to backstab me, but you failed. And you probably have heard this before, Dom. It just wasn't deep enough. And this made me audibly hoot. Like, to the point where Sydney looked at me funny. It was crazy. So what did you guys think of just like this beginning part with Rhea coming out and just being Rhea right here?
Drive, go first.
I honestly, like, my thoughts on this, like, this is probably like one of the segments that I look forward to the most when I watch Raw, because the main story that I'm really invested in when it comes to Raw in general is probably whatever's going on with Rhea, because, well, I guess stuff that's going on with CM Punk and Drew as well, but definitely when it comes to the girls, I would have to say like the whole story that's going on with Rhea and Liv Morgan, because you got to look at it like this: the girls haven't really had a story filled with like so much attention in quite some time. So it's nice that a woman's storyline is actually like one of the main focus points within Monday Night Raw. I mean, that's definitely really great to see, because normally you just see like a couple side things there and them calling each other names and that's it, but there's actual story with this. So all the people that wanted a legitimate story of Rhea and Liv Morgan, there you go, you got it. It became a bigger story outside of Becky Lynch, so there you go, you got it. So you should be happy with that. But I honestly loved how, Rhea was speaking her piece, because, even though her and Damian did put themselves in this predicament that they are in, I can say that they also have they also have some things to say like towards them as well, because you got to look at like how the Judgment Day has been functioning for the past couple months or so. I mean, things are going back and forth. They don't really know what they're doing with themselves. So I kind of like how they have Rhea and Damian out on their own now, because that's one of the things I wanted to see coming out of this, was to see them shine, finally breaking out. Because that's why they were paired with Edge to begin with when they started the Judgment Day in the very beginning, because they needed to be paired up with Edge so they can help put them over and build them up as legitimate superstars. And it worked. I mean, people are cheering them every week. I mean, Rhea's probably the most over woman in the company right now. Everybody loves Rhea. Whenever she comes out, she always has a big pop. I'm definitely loving Damien's presentation recently. I'm really happy with that. And I just liked this segment overall. It was just really nice for her to get stuff off her chest, especially since we haven't really heard her say anything ever since what happened at SummerSlam. I mean, what we saw from her last week, she came out and she wanted to powerbomb Liv Morgan through an announce table, but at least this week we got a better understanding of what her current mindset is and everything, and I really like that. And I also liked as well that you have Damian and Rhea a part of this story as well. So it's not like it's just a Rhea thing or it's just a Damian thing. It's a story for the both of them where, you know, they all got done wrong. And now we're going to see the whole result of it carrying on throughout Bash in Berlin. And then I'm probably going to end up seeing more of it when it comes to Bad Blood, because I definitely expect us to get the Damian and Finn match there, the Rhea and Liv match there. And I'm just a big sucker when it comes to just really digging deep into just basically showcasing like the different characteristics between both of these characters when it comes to Rhea and Liv and Dom and Damian, because it's just really nice to hear their sides of the story and what sort of direction things are going to be heading. And it was nice getting the whole it was nice getting the whole insults back and forth, because you already knew that was coming from a mile away. So it was nice to see all of that, but it did what it needed to do. I mean, that's honestly the main thing I can really say. It did what it needed to do to add more to the story.
Right. And I think that's the most important thing throughout all this, just like what you said. We got the why with everything. Like, why is Rhea feeling this way? Why is Dom doing everything? I like how Rhea, I mean, yeah, it's stupid. And
just because going by my own nuggies, let me play video games whenever I want. I'm like, boy, that sounds like your mother and you're still living at home. That's like you saying that you just went from living from the basement to the first floor. Like, you literally just sound like you just upgraded from, like, you literally have like a sugar mama, which I'm not saying that ain't a bad thing, but still.
I think no, okay, chat, we gotta have a quick story time with all this. So while we're watching Raw and all this, one of these gentlemen here decided to share a tweet of somebody who just posted a random SpongeBob clip saying that this was Dominic trying to talk to Rhea, and it's the part of SpongeBob where it's like, first of all, it's the fact that SpongeBob was in his underwear. There's step one. And then step two is he pulls out a tiny little shaver and he's just like, I am a man. It's just like, that was basically Dominic's reasoning right here. It's just like, look, I'm a man. I deserve to be treated like one. I want tendies. I want nuggies. I want video games. And I want to beat my deadbeat dad.
Just like he also said, I beat my dad. I got the win. She helped me out. I love Rhea response like, but Dominic, I wanted you to do that on your own. Not saying that I couldn't help you. I chose not to because I felt like that's a you problem, a you job. And I like her answer because it makes her sound that she's not she's not like being an asshole saying that she chose not to help you, but she's like, you should get that win on your own. If you're supposed to beat your deadbeat dad that he was never there for you, you should be the one to do it on your own. So I love her respond that it didn't make her seem like a bad guy. And I just want to add an emphasis towards what Whawkins said earlier. It just wasn't deep enough. I understand, Rhea. I understand.
It just wasn't deep enough. And I love how Liv kind of went backwards with the crowd chanting sloppy seconds. She said something weird, and when you go on Twitter, Zelina Vega actually like quote retweeted it and was just like, wait, Are you meaning you want to be with Rhea or something?
Yeah, and then the whole comment section was like, yeah, everyone wants to be Rhea. Like, yeah, it seems like it. It seems like that's what the community is saying. I'm like, yeah, Rhea's Rhea. Um,
Exactly.
Liv responded with cold-hearted, with no second thought, saying, "We'll have sloppy seconds all day, every day." That's what she said, and I literally put in my notes saying, laughing out loud. I also want
Yeah.
to add that as a fan and as a critic, saying I love the character work from Rhea in the ring and Dom and Liv in the crowd. As much as the conversation we joke around of the banter between them, I just wanna be proud towards what Job said earlier. The character work between them is what Bailey said in Cody Rhodes' podcast, saying that it's good to have the woman bring story, where it's not just them in the ring,
Yeah.
but also bringing story
Hmm.
to the show, bringing a story going from where they were in the Judgment Day with Edge 2-3 years ago to now being main eventers, having a story between a mixed tag match now that just got announced. Even Michael Cole called them by their nickname, the Terror Twins. Seeing Damien Priest and Mid Carter go to a main eventer, a person that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people did not believe in him. So now where he is now, Rhea going to become the person she is in such a short time. The fans love her. Even Chat is saying that we should not have her in the mid card story in our own rundown. So it shows that a lot of people love her to be part of the main story. So I really love the character work for Rhea and Liv. I'm happy for them. Even Rhea brought it
Definitely come
up
a long way.
that
Hmm.
Dominic won his first title, had gold around him, having the NXT North American title for a short time. So it was dope to see that happening. So I'm glad that they brought that up because that was also important to bring. Hopefully, like I said it months ago, hopefully it goes back for the NXT title one day because I love to see him having the NXT title when the time comes, when the story has its pace. But I just wanted to bring attention as well from my end about the character work, and I'm very proud of them, very happy for them as a fan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, especially Damien Priest, because like you think back like a couple years ago,
The
he was having
allegations
a
are not going
zombie.
away.
He was having a zombie match with The Miz, where John Morrison technically got eaten by zombies. There's also the running joke of him being the bisexual Undertaker, but like that's always just excelled him and lifted up him into greater heights. I mean, he was main eventing pay-per-views. He won some main events. I mean, granted, there's a few asterisks there, but that's besides the point with that. But yeah, man, I mean, I love how this was also all a ploy to kind of get them to one spot so Damien can just again pull that Undertaker card, like what's happening right behind Vash, just showing up, be like, yo, what up, little bro? Oh wait, you're not my bro anymore.
Also,
Smack.
what Damien did, he literally popped in and just stood there and didn't blink. And like I bet you he literally rehearsed this or practiced this, or the producer, the writer, somebody must have told him on the side, like,
It's
hey,
like,
what do you want to do? What people have been calling you online, the backstage Undertaker? What do you want to actually do this pose and don't blink? I bet you they would be like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. And see what the audience will see. I just hope and happy just to know those conversations must be happening because they're on social media. That's their job to know what the audience are talking about, to see what to hit on the nail. So just to know that he actually stood there like this and literally did not blink
mhm.
once just to look like this guy, it's amazing. So I love that for Damien Priest just to find the corner. And I love how Liv was just looking down, like, fuck, I'm trapped. If I go down, I meet with
Mhm.
Rhea. If I go up, my daddy Dom is getting hit. She just said, I'm gonna help daddy Dom with Damien. At least I could help him before Rhea comes. And I didn't expect to see what's happening behind the background of Whawkins. I didn't expect. In the notes,
Oh yeah.
I literally wrote, we're having a fucking street fight. I feel bad for the camera working team. They was running in the beginning of the show.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
From going on the right side of the arena to the left side of the arena to follow Damian and Dominic back down to the arena. I love it. It came out of the blue. It was great. The people in the arena in Texas must have had a good time just to see that little segment happening. I feel bad for everyone else that chose the wrong seats because they were like, fuck, oh my God, we could have sat there. I was going to choose
Dang
the
it.
seats tonight. We could have been part of that. I told you these seats were wrong. I've been in those moments, so I understand that.
Dude, did you see how fast Rhea was running in those shoes down the hall?
Hustling.
Like,
I saw the clip.
she was booking it, dude. And in those kind of shoes with those kind of heels, I'm like, oh my gosh, you are a woman. Oh yes, good on you with that one. So yeah, this led to a big old brawl, and Carlito tried to get in the way to kind of interfere, and he has a match tonight with Damien Priest, but I'm gonna bring this to you because me and Vash were we were curious about something because it seemed like Carlito was injured. He was wearing a lot more like braces on himself, so like he had like a shoulder brace and it looked like he had a thicker knee pad on, and he was kind of stumbling around a lot when he was walking.
Didn't he have different colored shoes on too?
So we found out about the shoes at the commercial break. We found out about the shoes that Pat actually gave us a reasoning during the fight. He said it's because Carlitos have two different sizes of feet. So for example, Pat, he didn't mention the size of feet, but he's mentioned saying that size on the feet, for example, are like 11 to 11 and a half. So that's why some people have like a different size of foot. But it's weird that he has a different size of color shoes. I'm like, you could still have the same, pair. Yeah. I guess it has different reasoning. Who knows?
Yeah, I was really confused with the whole Carlito situation that we saw tonight because I didn't really know what happened to him, because I was looking at it, I was like, okay, what happened? Because at least from like the other, like when we saw Braun Breaker, we knew why he was like had markings on his body to let people know that that was a spot that he had like some pain in. But like with Carlito, I don't really know. I mean, it's kind of hard to keep track of Carlito, mainly because he's just there.
Yeah.
So it's
and
I mean,
he literally came back a year ago from Backlash, and he literally just got reintroduced last year in August or September, was it? So it's like, okay, Carlitos, you're just here, I guess.
I mean, I will say this though. Even though like I really wasn't a big fan of the whole LWO stick, I will say him and Judgment Day is a lot more entertaining.
I agree.
Because at least there's some use. Because at least there's some use for him there. Yeah. So I can say that.
I just love the fact that it's just like, yeah, Carlito, he's there, and that's just been his run since coming back with the WWE. It's like, LWO, and also Carlito. Oh, here comes the Judgment Day, and also Carlito. But like now he's part of the Judgment Day. So,
but look,
hey,
the match was good.
I love that.
I have to give credit where credit is due. The match was good. Even though finding out this weird stuff with Carlitos, like I don't know if this is a compliment or this. He reminds me of Vegeta in the hyperbolic, not in the hyperbolic chamber. In the ball, like trying to heal, but that's what reminds me of Carlitos right now. Like he's trying to heal in the bubble, but instead of healing in the bubble, he has the equipment on him, and he's just like he's carrying extra equipment to improve his stamina, improve his body, like improve his defense with the extra knee pads. So it's like, my dude, I feel like you're a bit extra right now, but you're making it work. You're a bit sluggish as far during the match. Also, Damian, I felt like he was a bit slow in this match, but I think it was because he had to match the pace with Carlitos. That was my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes
that's why I was thinking, like,
Yeah, because that's sometimes a thing that they have to do when it comes to certain people in the ring, is that they have to work at their pace, because you also have to look at it like this as well. Like each person has like a different way when they move around on the wing, the way they move around in the ring. Like you have somebody like Bron Breaker who's all over the place, and then you got somebody like Braun Strowman who's hitting all these big power moves, and he's moving at a little slow pace unless he's running around the ring for the Strowman Express. So you have each of these like wrestlers stand out based on like, okay, this is what we can put up against this person because I feel like they would have good chemistry with one another. Because normally we see Damian all over the place. I mean, when you saw him against Gunther, you know, that was a hard-hitting match. I mean, they definitely brought it to the top and they put everything on the line in that match. But when you look at that match compared to this one, you know, and also you got to keep in mind what we saw earlier when he was like chasing Dom around the arena and they got in that little brawl in the back where you had all the different fans out there watching it. I don't know if that took part in it, but I would definitely say, especially with somebody like Carlito, like no disrespect to him, but I'm not gonna expect like this crazy over the top match with them.
Yeah,
I just feel like Damian said when he like cut that promo on JD last week, you know, Finn's sending all of his goons at me now. He has his clip build up. He already took a shot at JD, took a shot at Carlito. I mean, who's next now? So
JD again.
Yep, he's pretty much taking everyone out, and he's proving his point. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad for JD. He keeps getting a south of heaven. Slam.
Punch
and
bag.
he is becoming a beautiful punching bag. But I gotta give props that people don't understand. JD is doing the job of Dolph Ziggler,
yeah.
like so good at selling that he's doing such a fantastic job to show the chokeslam how great it is. So I'm very proud of JD. A lot of people need to understand to also be appreciate what he's doing because he's taking the biggest L's out of the Judgment Day and out of the whole locker room right now, and he's making Damien Priest look amazing as he should. But also, I should say, you know, Carlitos lost as well, and I'm okay with that. My boy lost because it makes sense. They need to have Damien Priest, you know, protected and also winning, so it makes sense.
Yep, especially when you're building up to a mixed tag match at Bash of Berlin, where you got Rhea and Damian against Liv and Dom, so that should be fun.
And people don't understand. Whawkins called this since SummerSlam or that past week Monday. We called it since then.
Yeah, I forgot when, because at first it was like, oh well, we could do Finn and Liv, but it's like nah, keep Finn and because like they did that tonight too, where it's like, oh now Finn is cornered by both Rhea and Damian, but JD took the bullet for him again, so it's like okay, we're keeping Damian and Finn separate. Good. Let's keep them, you know, maybe, you know, leg brawls here and there, especially with Finn. Apparently he's calling himself Backstabber Balor, which maybe that'll catch on more. I don't know. This will catch on better than another name that we'll get to later on tonight.
Oh, hell yeah. 100%. That name was atrocious.
Don't even get me started with that.
Oh my god.
Don't worry. I'm about to get you started when we get to that part. But yeah, we're getting a mixed match, tag team match, playa at Bash at Berlin. We got Damien Priest and Rhea Ripley taking on Liv and Dom. I'm assuming this is going to be leading up to Liv and Rhea's rematch. Since, you know, maybe Rhea will pin Liv. Yeah,
because the way that I look at it right here is that you have this as a little break point where you have like Dom and Liv against Rhea and Damian, just to have that little like, okay, we're gonna have this match, and then once we get to Bad Blood, then that's when you're getting all the good stuff, because that's the pay-per-view that I can see Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa, and then I could see Finn Balor versus Damien Priest, and then I could see Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan too. Because when you look at it like that, it makes sense to have matches like that because they all have bad blood with each other. You have to keep that theme in mind when you're making these matches for the card. CM Punk and Drew, bad blood. Rhea and Liv, bad blood. Finn and Damian, bad blood. Sikoa and Roman Reigns, bad blood. you got to keep that theme in mind when you're adding all these different kinds of matches in there. Not really sure what's going on with Cody, but that's another thing we could discuss later on in this month and also throughout September. But it's like it's something that I'm okay with, and it makes sense because as soon as I saw what happened at SummerSlam, I had that idea in my head that they were going to do this match anyway because it does make sense. And now that they're both out of Judgment Day and they're feuding with them, and especially what we saw last week on Monday, I mean, it only makes sense that they headed down this direction. And I could definitely see Liv getting pinned here because realistically, it does not make sense for Rhea to get pinned again in this match. Just like how I mentioned earlier when it came to CM Punk and Drew, you had Drew win the first match. CM Punk more than likely is going to win the second match, and then you're going to have that little rubber match between the both of them at Bad Blood. Yeah. It's the same thing with Rhea, and like you said, Whawkins, not that long ago, in order to get Rhea Ripley back on that path to get her title back, pinning Liv gives her an automatic #1 contender spot to go up against her at that pay-per-view, so it makes total sense if they head down that direction. Because I don't think Liv is going to be hurt in any way if she takes a pin. I don't really see it affecting her in any way. I mean, I think at this point, she's untouchable, at least when it comes to how she was portrayed before. I mean, the past Liv Morgan compared to how she is now, completely different characters. I feel like she can take a pin. It should be fine.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. So, yeah, we'll just have to keep going down the road and see where it all goes and where it all leads. But we're gonna keep going down this road and kind of keep going down the totem pole of the mid card because upper mid card has some great stuff. Let's get a little lower. Let's get a little lower because hey, Odyssey Jones is finally here with a match against Winey.
Jesus Lord.
Yeah,
okay. What's wrong, Vash? You don't like Winey?
There's actually some backstory to that too, and I don't want to get in depth with it because it's kind of fun.
Oh no!
I feel bad.
Really, imagine if Winey gotten.
I feel bad for commentary. Because it was hilarious for Michael Cole and Pat McAfee to say the name. Michael Cole was laughing. If anybody couldn't tell from the giggle of him saying, "So we have Winey, we have Winey here for going for the match," like he was trying to contain himself.
Winnie.
I'm trying to correct it, and Pat McAfee didn't give a fuck. He just kept going on, Winey this, Winey that, Winey here, Winey everywhere. He was just going along with it. He was having a great time. But jokes aside, people need to understand this man. Odyssey Jones has lifted a deadlift of 800 pounds. And also need to be aware that this is the record that could have only been broken, is what Pat McAfee said, that they could not have passed this because at the place they were at, this was the max that they could have done. So Odyssey Jones could have.
Oh, this was the Performance Center.
Yeah, so exactly. Thank you. I just remember, but this was a Performance Center record. There could have been no more. So he has the holding record. Odyssey Jones. That's amazing to see. Unless we finally will see a match with Jacob Henry versus Odyssey Jones, that'd be a cool, interesting match. Just throwing that out there.
Jacob Henry.
Mark Henry's son.
Probably Joe Henry.
Okay. All right. I was like, wait, Jacob Henry. Why am I recognizing?
I thought he meant.
We just met him today.
I was like, what?
Don't worry, we just met him today.
Yeah.
I thought he meant Joe Henry at first.
Okay, I'm not the only one who thought that then.
No,
I was sitting here thinking, wait,
Joe Henry. No. No, but
Jacob
Henry. Mark Henry's son. For anybody in that clique,
I mean,
we just met him today, so I thought it would have been a quick one. But I should have put more context on that one. My apologies.
No, you're fine.
I mean, honestly, just to give like a few thoughts on this, really. Yeah. I mean, because I'm not like, I'll be honest. I don't really care about this feud until Odyssey Jones got added to it. So at least that added some
Mhm.
flavor to it. It actually made it interesting.
Which I think it was a
Because
good choice because, as you said, it brought you in it and a few audience. Because I know you guys were not interested in the Final Testament. I know, I was the only
no, I
one.
haven't been into it in a long time.
I know I was the only one that was hoping for it. That was like some cracks or something, and it's finally tuning in. Odyssey
Even
Jones was the little spark.
yeah, even now, I don't know how to feel about it, and I'll explain
Yeah.
why. Because like the match itself, it was a squash match. I
It
mean, it's
was.
pretty much to
Yeah.
build up Odyssey Jones as that guy. That's pretty much what this was. Even though, I mean, you're going up against somebody that people probably don't even know who it is from NXT, so you're not going to get that much reaction out of that. But still, he's being built up to be that guy. We knew him jumping into this match and him finally coming to the main roster after 2 years, which I'm happy to see him now because he definitely has a lot of charisma and he definitely adds a lot to the New Day. So if you wanted to add any person to the group, that definitely would be the person to add. So besides the match itself, getting into the whole like even the tag match, I'm not like super excited about because we've seen it before. But the only thing I do have mixed thoughts on is like what they're doing with Xavier, because I don't necessarily think they need to turn him heel if they want him to have like a successful singles run, because he could easily do the exact same thing that Kofi and Big E did, and they were still part of the New Day, where Big E eventually won the big one, and then Kofi eventually won the big one, and they were doing all of that together. I mean, I mean, I understand this following the whole direction that goes on with Cross's philosophies when it comes to certain people that he comes in contact with, and then those philosophies that he speaks of ends up coming true, which is what we're seeing with Xavier. So it does follow the story, but I don't necessarily think that Xavier really needs a heel turn, because we know it's coming. It could happen once we get closer to Bash at Berlin, and it could happen the next Monday night after the pay-per-view or whatever, but I personally don't think it's necessary. Like, you could, I know what they're trying to do, but you don't need a heel turn to achieve that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like
And
Odyssey
that's why,
Jones
like,
did anything to him to really
Yeah.
like push him over the edge or make him feel like he wasn't a part of New Day at all, because he is very happy to be there with Kofi and Xavier. He's not showing like any signs where he's trying to take a certain spot or whatever. And I don't know. It also kind of seems like out of character in a way for Xavier to act this way, because normally, like, the whole our positivity thing, they're always in a good mood and they're always like welcoming a whole bunch of people around them. I never really seen him display this side of him before, so it's definitely new
It
when it comes
feels.
to his character.
Yeah.
I was just gonna add, like, it feels like I agree 100% towards what you're saying, Whawkins. I mean, Nick, about how the character of Xavier Woods feels out of place, of him feeling some type of way of not being told about Odyssey Jones being part of this, being told by Kofi that you're on the supporter role, that you'll be on the sidelines, and Xavier was showing the expression of he didn't really like being told that he's in that spot. So it feels very intriguing that Xavier Woods is starting to feel some type of saltiness towards how the relationship is because of the Final Testament, because of Karrion Kross. But I like how he's not really questioning it too much. He's starting to just notice it, and it feels too type of reality. It feels too type of realism of him being hurt, of his teammate, his friend asking for help of a third party. Like, hey, why do you feel hurt about not being told some information? Like, I know if it's in real life, you feel hurt or being told like, hey, I wasn't in the loop. That's totally fine. But in store wise, in wrestling, it feels like, hey, this is your tag team partner in your division that's letting you know that we're gonna add an extra hands, a little recruit maybe, or a little substitution to add extra hands because we're getting our body slams by the Final Testament. We're gonna get Odyssey Jones. By the way, that was a squash match. It was beautiful, but well deserved. And even Odyssey Jones felt hurt. It's like, yo, it's not how it is. He's lying to you. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to be here as a man, as a friend, as a team member. This is what I could help. This is what I could contribute. So for Xavier Woods to feel like, I also will feel mad that Xavier was in the middle of conversation for a tag match, but then Kofi Kingston cut him off like, nah, you know what? We know you're gonna cut in. Let's just do a 6-on-man match. Cause how do you feel about that? Like, you're in the middle of a mic work, promo work, but then you just get cut off of your hype man saying, hey, instead of a tag match, let's do a 6-man.
Well, they've done that before. That's why I was caught off guard, because they've always done that, where one speaks and the other one speaks after. So that's why everything just seems out of place.
That's why I'm feeling like a lot of this could be a bait and switch with Xavier Woods, because it's like, okay, you hit the nail right on the head. This feels very out of character for somebody like Xavier Woods, somebody part of the New Day, somebody who's like preached this whole power of positivity thing since their inception, if I remember correctly, which was like 10 years ago. We're nearing on we're nearing on that aspect of it.
September or November, I believe. November 17th, 11th, I believe.
Yeah. Anyways, so it's like, I feel like that's where this story might be going, where it's just like, okay, we have these little clues, these little hints of maybe Xavier turns, maybe he does his own thing, but it's like, nah, forget that. I'm positive. I'm happy about this thing. Like, is it a little weird? Yeah, it is, because Kofi's just kind of like being a little too, like, it's like he's dialed up to 11, where like Xavier right now is at a rare 6 or 7. It's like, okay, what's going on? But like, I feel like, and I'm hoping, and it could be also the copium too, because like I was really hoping that this Final Testament stuff was going to be leading to a Big E return, which, I mean, the news that we got shortly after me thinking that said otherwise. But it's like, okay, now we have this new guy in here. Where are we going to go with this? Like, Xavier kind of let Karrion Kross in a little bit, and he has to prove that his way of thinking, his own philosophy, is a lot different than Karrion Kross. Because, like, we already have that built-in story with Karrion Kross when he has his rivalry. It's like, oh, they all end up changing. They all end up, kind of proving Karrion Kross right. Yeah. And just imagine, just like the power of positivity be the New Day of all things. Like, one of the things that people have been, like, because Woods has even said this before. It was either Woods or Kofi or both of them. So many people have tried to break up the New Day. So many of them have tried and failed constantly. And, like, I know all good things have to come to an end, but not yet with the New Day. Like, God, I struggle to think what would happen if they did break up, because it's like, now you're adding more people to the singles division, which is already, like, I don't want to say bloated as it is, but like there's a lot of moving pieces on there, like enough to where, you have a show on Twitter, for a title for, Speed and all that. Like, you have people relegated to that. You have people on your main event scene. You have people that go to and from NXT from your main roster. It's like, you have so many moving pieces. It's like, I don't want Xavier to be possibly lost in that and to be stuck with a character of, oh, I'm either really mad gamer or I'm really happy gamer, so that's my only fear with if they did break them up. It's like, I don't want either of them to get lost,
because I will not be happy either. I like this team. I would love to see Odyssey Jones be involved with this. If he becomes an actual New Day member, that would be interesting, since it's been Big E, Xavier Woods, and Kofi for the past 10 years as a trio. So without him, I'm really curious to see if Odyssey Jones will be the first, recruit 4th member that they have ever added. That'd be intriguing. By the way, before we move along, I want to say it's nice to see the final testicle. I mean, sorry, the final testament actually have an ending segment have been going on. So that was great to see.
Yeah. So, but hey, we're getting a 6-man tag match next week. Should be a lot of fun. So I'm hoping for some good storyline progressions with all that. But speaking of storyline progressions, we still have to kind of wrap up one storyline that's been going on for a while that somewhat had a pit stop with the Wyatt Six. We have American Made versus Alpha Academy in a tornado-style tag team match, which means no tags, no disqualification, no countout. Only way to win, pinfall and submission. This was a lot of fun. Like, I'm glad this got a lot of time, and I'm glad that we also kind of had a heel turn with Ivy Nile in this match. And I don't know, I just had a lot of fun with this match, you know, because Tozawa looked really good, Otis looked really good, Creed's always looked good, so I don't really have to tout much with that, but like, this was back and forth. This could have gone either way, but I'm glad the Creeds won. I'm glad like Ivy Nile finally just kind of joined everybody and decided, hey, I'm gonna be a baddie with y'all. I'm gonna listen to Uncle Chad, who's still in Paris right now. But Vash, how'd you feel about this match? How'd you because I don't think we don't see a lot of Texas Tornado matches, so I'm glad they put one on here while they were in Austin, Texas. But how'd you feel about this?
I felt like it's point on purpose of why it's called what it is, like because of where they are in the stadium, the state they're in Texas, so makes sense to use this type of actual fight or reason. Also, a big shout out for Obafemi. Obafemi and Otis had a stare down, so that was an intriguing one with. Because Obafemi will be having a open challenge tomorrow, so maybe that's inclined that Otis may be interested for the title. That'd be pretty interesting to see a match between Obafemi and Otis. Free Otis shirt. That was something that I didn't expect. I want to throw that out there. Free Otis shirt. That was out of the blue.
Oh yeah, I guess they have some to still sell. So he's like, let me wear my shirt to kind of promote, hey, free me. I need freedom from Master Gable, even though you're already free from him. But, you know, I guess we got to push the few, push t-shirts and all that.
Tozawa, he was used as a weapon. He was thrown around. He was amazing. So a big shout out to Tozawa. I was very happy to see how much this man was committed to be thrown spot for spot. So that was really amazing to see.
Oh, yeah. Like, Tozawa makes the perfect human weapon.
He does.
I love it. Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, I am glad, too, like, especially with, like, Texas Tornado tag matches, I'm glad, like, the stipulation allows for, like, no DQ and all that, you know, allow them to do a little bit more free spots. So, like, you have the Creeds trying to put Otis through a table, but not being able to, which, I mean, Maxine ends up getting powerbombed on it, so she took a big bump. That's might have been the hardest bump she's taken in her career so far. I don't know. I'd have to go back to some of her matches.
I believe it was a good sell from her as well. The sell from her was very well done. I was very intrigued and happy to see her have a moment with Ivy Nile. Like, Ivy Nile even warned her before, like, hey, if I was you, don't come out. If I was you, I'm letting you know. If I was Maxine, I'd be like, bitch, what do you mean if I was you, do not come out? Are you saying you're going to attack me? Is this a warning? Is this, you know, is this like shots fired? What the fuck you implying?
Oh, no, shots were fired. Like shots, many shots were fired.
But the thing is, if I was Maxine, I would have questioned this approach. I'd be like, bitch, what you mean? Like, yo, Otis, Ivy Nash just told me not to come tonight. You think this bitch about to jump me? Otis would be like, yeah, girl, she about to jump you. You better be ready to scrub some hands.
He'd be like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Scrub some hands.
Now, hand me my razor from Manscaped. Sponsored by Manscaped.
Sponsored by Manscaped. I'm gonna use it right now. So I
Uh,
love just to see this fight. Now did a great job. It made
mhm.
it made it look like girls the bully. It made it look she was dominant. Chad Gable, he was fucking in Paris, just having the time of his life. He was like, yeah, I came here for recruits. I wonder if that's gonna play
Oh
like a
yeah.
long game. I'm really curious to see if we're gonna see anybody that we saw at the Olympics, because even Michael Cole brought a
Hmm.
shout out saying that we have somebody, from the Olympics that is a alumni for something like that. P. Michael Cole also brought
Oh,
up earlier.
they are they're part of the Next in Line program, which
Yes.
is what WWE does. They go they take like athletes that want to go into pro wrestling and all that. They'll give them it's basically their system. So it's like, okay, this is how we're going to train you cuz hey,
So like normal
you
tryouts.
are already you're already a gymnast. So it's like, okay, let's work on like your aerial moves, for example. So like that's how people, I think like Sol Ruka was part of that. And who's the girl who's the women's North American champion, because she's part of that system too, I think.
It's Kelani.
Yeah, Kalani Jordan. Yeah, um, she's part of that next in line system as well. So like Obafemi, I'm pretty sure was part of that as well.
Yes.
So like you see some success with these people and all that. So they're getting the shots that they have earned, that they've trained for and all that. But like it's just nice to see that the program works. The process works going forward.
I agree. It's a good opportunity for that.
Mm.
And I just love the the massive suplex that happened in this fight. I want to give another shout out in the wrestling because
Dude.
we didn't get to mention the American-made theme song. The Creed brothers are still called the Creed brothers, even though when they come out as a group. So I really love that. But the fighting between the Creed
Ooh, I'm
brothers was
sorry.
really great. The
Oh yeah.
massive suplex between all of them was brutal. I was really entertained. The Creed brothers did a great match,
Mm.
and they held it together against Otis. Otis got a lot of love from the audience as well. Great push from the
Mhm.
audience, and he is love. All is love.
Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, it could go blow for blow for this one, but like really, this is one of those matches that you just put on to kind of have fun with. Even though, the ending was kind of uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's a little bit of uncomfort there with, Ivy Nile holding that dragon sleeper on Maxine. Because like Maxine doesn't, I mean, I don't remember the last match she had on TV,
I think it was
if
like
I'm
three
being
months
honest.
ago. I think it was back in April.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a while ago. I think it was during like the Queen's tournament, because wasn't she part of that? I think.
Yes, it was in the Queen tournament. So
Yeah.
about 3 months ago, because the Queen tournament was around June. So yeah, about
Yeah.
June, May.
Yeah. So it's been a while since we've seen her, wrestle on TV, and she that's not a fun move to take. Like that's bending your back and like neck like that, and like even protected, I'm sure that kind of pains a little bit, kind of stings a little bit.
For sure.
Um but yeah, I mean, this is mainly one of those matches that I would recommend. Just go and watch it. It's a lot of fun.
By the way,
Like,
I love how Michael Cole was so serious of getting back to work. He was like,
oh my god, yeah. Somebody
medical,
get this bitch off
anybody?
my table.
Can anybody get Maxine some help, support? And like 2 minutes later, again, can anybody, before we go to commercial break, I need somebody to get this girl off my desk. Can somebody check in on her? Another minute later, before commercial break, can somebody check on her? We'll be glad to help her, please. Anybody right now? I want to get back on my desk.
Hmm.
I need to get back on my job. No, okay, cool. Like I just felt like he wanted to get just
Oh,
back on his chair, just get back on his table. But
I,
like Maxine was just
I don't
rocking his
blame
views,
him.
like, damn girl, can you just get off the desk, just roll over?
I mean, I don't blame Michael Cole at all. But like the other thing too, I'm glad you brought up Michael Cole real quick, because this is the last thing I want to bring up with this match. Michael Cole's calls tonight especially, he was like trying to throw in all these references to like old names that people had. So he's just like, oh, look at Otis, heavy machinery like character, because that was the tag team he used to be in. They were called Heavy Machinery.
Yeah.
And then when Ivy Nile comes out to help the Creeds, he's just like, oh, they truly are a diamond mine, wink. And it's like, oh yeah, they were in a group in NXT called Diamond Mine.
Yeah, diamond mine.
Yeah.
I remember the blue symbol of the diamond thing
Mm-hmm.
they used to have walking around.
Yeah. Like, I wanted to go up to Michael Cole, especially after the Diamond Mine went out. I wanted to be like, Cole, you just found out about all this, didn't you? Like, and you just remembered about Heavy Machinery, didn't you? Oh, buddy. Oh, pal. Oh, friend of mine. You're great. You're
doing
awesome.
his job. He was doing his job, and I love it for him. Like, he just literally do his job. Even in the next segment, after that segment happened, he literally asked him, "So Pat, you are the most knowledgeable of the White Six. So
Yeah.
what do you think about all this?" And I love how Pat can just take it serious, like, well, you have to understand their understanding of their mentally, of the psychological. I love how Michael Cole just stare at him and be like, bitch, what the fuck you talking about?
Like, they keep ruining your podcast every week. What are you talking about?
I love how Cole is
What
just
do you
looking
say?
at him like, bro, I'm just throwing you shit and you just go along with it. And Pat always, like, each time the camera goes to him, I love how Pat just goes with his pen and just throws it and just does this. And he's proud of it. He's
just like
anybody just stare at Pat. Every time he succeeds, he's happy that he didn't fuck up in front of the TV, like front of the camera, like, oh, I did it. Every single moment,
he's so
he has a
proud of
smile in
himself.
his eyes, but that's enough. A big shout
He's
out
so
on
proud of
Pat and
himself.
Michael Cole. It's always good to shout out to the voice of the WWE
Oh,
universe.
yeah.
So people love them. So it's good to give a shout out, like us as critics and fans. You guys, talk about us, the good and the bad of how good we do on the chat or on the VOD. We also gotta give a shout out to the commentators who also entertains us while we're home by watching the show. So I just want to give a big shout out to them as well before we move on to our craziness.
Yeah. So next two segments are probably going to be somewhat quicker. Yeah, I don't have too much to say about these next two segments, but like, yeah, we had a Wyatt 6 video, which basically made me think of Raw from Ed and Eddie telling the Eds, oh, life has many doors, Ed boy. Like, that was basically the video. It was basically Uncle Howdy being like, hey, look, we've done something. Finally, last week was a moment. It was a big time for us. Emotions are still high, but the work's not done yet. The work has only begun. That's basically the gist of this. I'm sure there were like some things hidden in the TV that people that have better eyes than me and more time to like pause every frame to look at. I'm sure they'll be studying that, and we'll be hearing what all that will entail. But Vash, what do you think about this little video segment that we had?
So, as somebody who's new, because I'll call myself new to the Bray Wyatt family storyline, to the lore, because I was not in their full 10-year or 11-year mark that they have to the history of the lore, but I love to analyze. So I love how Uncle Howdy, throughout the past couple of months, we have seen video packages of their characters. The only one we haven't seen yet is Nikki Cross, like a full type of mental. It was more of like a video package of her character, but over the past couple of months, we have seen the White Six go and discuss why they are the way they are. Why have they gone to the full edge? Why have they gone crazy? Why have they gone through and become the craziness that they are? But in this package, we hear Uncle Howdy go speak from the present. Speak from the past, speak to the present, speak to the future, and that's something that we haven't had in the past video packages, where he reminisce from their appearance from 10, 11 years ago to where they are now from last week. He also spoke about how he felt the presence of Bray Wyatt. He felt him there. He was there with them in the arena, in the stadium, doing what they need to be, and take the big W. However, when they spoke about the future, they spoke about the doors. The other doors shall open. I really love that analogy. The door shall open. I'm really curious to see what that entails, since they're half the door in the beginning of the entrance. It's about the door and everything. So I'm really curious to see what would they go after. How would they continue to be dominant in the future?
Exactly. So the possibilities are endless, basically. All the doors to open, all the keyholes to unlock, and all that. So we'll just have to wait and see where the Wyatt Six goes from there. So moving on with that little segment to another little segment that had bits and pieces here and there. Jackie got to speak with Pete Dunne. Just kind of about like what's been going on. Like, hey Pete, you okay, bud? I mean, you were strapped with the name Butch for a little bit, but you okay? Oh, no Butch, no Butch. Like, you say the name Butch around Pete Dunne ever again, he is liable to break all of your toes.
I felt like if anybody don't know, whenever you speak to Cody Rhodes about his time as Stardust, Cody Rhodes said, I literally have erased those memories off my brain. It's like they're not in my brain cell. Like they're not in my memory bank. Nothing. Stardust who? I don't know. This is what I hear from Pete Dunne. That once you say the name Butch, is Red Hulk eyes. He's ready to fight you. He's ready to square up. And two, he doesn't want to be called that. That Butch name is literally out of his memory bank. It's gone. So I love that Butch. Sorry, don't find me. Pete Dunne is ready to move on past that and said, look, that name is gone. I'm here for the hands. And guess what? He saw Sheamus backstage and said, I'm going to give the hands to Sheamus, and we're going to have a one-on-one next week. And I thought Ludwig Kaiser was going to jump in. I'll tell you not. I thought Ludwig was going to be like, you know what? I got my opportunity. I'll jump in with you. Pop. But he wasn't. He's like, you know what? This is not my business. I got too late. You jump him. I'm going to jump out.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess that kind of speaks with Kaiser character-wise. So it's just like, okay, I'm not going to get involved in a fight that I don't have to be involved in. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like to beat up on Sheamus. I would, I want to end him. I mean, he even said that to Sheamus in the back. Like, hey, we're not done yet. I said I'm going to end you. And that's still going to be happening, buddy. But, like, him just being like, you know what? I ain't going to do this. Because I guess part of him is just like, you know what? Your life is already crumbling. Why should I have to add to that? Let's let you suffer a little bit. Again, kind of like that slow cooking kind of thing. Like, let's let you suffer for a bit, and then I'll take you out when you're finally at your lowest. Because that's just kind of how Kaiser is.
I have a question, Whawkins, before we move on. How did you feel about Sheamus' response to Jackie about Pete Dunne interview? How did you feel about our boy Sheamus' response?
Well, it's funny because it's like, on one hand, Pete Dunne hated being like little brothered. Basically, he was thrown with the name Butch that he didn't like and all that. He was basically treated as Sheamus's lackey, and Butch even mentioned, he's just like, I thought Sheamus was going to be lifting me up, but it turns out I had to lift him up, because, like, without Pete Dunne around, like, Sheamus would not having those matches with Gunther, like, we wouldn't have those stare-offs, probably. I mean, hell, Sheamus was barely in the company at one point because of injuries and all that, and I'm sure, like, Pete Dunne led to Sheamus eventually coming back, like, probably helping him train and all that, which I'm sure they might go into if we continue this feud past next week. But yeah, I mean, Sheamus just responding, being like, look, I tried to raise him up, and he wants to blame me, but, he's still riding my tailcoats.
He's a sourpuss.
Like, Exactly. He's still trying to make a name for himself by using me. So, all right, like, I'm still doing my job apparently, except you're being a dick. Okay, fine, whatever. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens next week. I mean, Sheamus is already going in injured, well, quote unquote injured, because of the shillelagh to his hand. So, I guess that's going to be a crux next week, especially against somebody like Pete.
Ah.
We have flamingos on our
Yes,
stream.
I'm
What
sorry
is going?
that happened.
What the fudge nuggets? Look, this is actually a good segue because flamingos are cool, but they're not as
Also,
cool as some flying pirates.
sorry,
So yeah,
chat. I just pressed the wrong
no, you're
button
fine.
on Stream Deck and it just went everywhere. The flamingos was not on purpose.
You're good. You are good. I think we have our Discord on the left, bottom left, though. So,
Yes, that is
but
gone now.
well, oh, okay, good. Perfect. Excellent. But what isn't gone yet is this horrible name for this faction. Oh my gosh. So, okay. We have the Sky Pirates. We have Io Sky and Kairi Sane going up against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark from the new group of them with Sonya Deville. The group name is now... Oh, Drop, you came back just in time. You want to talk about Pure
No,
Fusion Collective?
You know damn well he ain't happy
You
about
want to
that.
talk about this awesome name?
He better give his thoughts on the 2-3 things that he missed to talk about. He better like, fuck, I came back at the wrong one. He should have waited for the last conversation.
Yeah, something came up.
He was
Sorry
like,
about that.
damn.
It's all good.
No, you're fine, dude. Oh, man. But yeah, why don't you start us off? How do you feel about this name, Pure Fusion Collective?
Sounds like some Powerpuff Girls shit.
Except worse.
Yeah, like I don't really understand like the whole meaning behind this name. Like it literally sounds like something you'd come up with in math class.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to figure out,
I-
like if you're trying to figure out fractions or times tables or some shit. I don't understand it.
Yeah, look, I'd rather be called the studs of
Actually, you know what?
what?
It actually sounds like henchmen that Thanos would have under his belt.
Go ahead, send out the Pure Fusion Collective. Well, what's that, sir? Oh, yeah, it's a bunch of Namekians that fused together.
It reminds me of Kurama in Boruto when he did his fucking fusion reactor thing with Naruto when he died. Spoilers for anybody from Boruto. That's like 2 years ago news.
Sydney, why would he mention Boruto in my presence?
Like that's 2 years ago
Freaking
news for
nuclear
anybody
fission.
that had nuclear fusion. That's what it was. Look at that same shit.
God
Nuclear fusion,
damn.
pure fusion
Yeah, they put-
collective. Like yo, this is the most stupidest name. Once I heard it from Sonya Deville, I'm like, I must have heard that wrong. Yo, babe, I think my ears are fucked up. I deadass told her that I was like, yo, babe, I think my ears are fucked up. I think I heard something wrong. And then after that, Michael Cole repeated again during commentary, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm not bugging. She actually says the most stupidest name. Like she was deadass bugging.
Yeah. Like, oh god, I think what makes this worse though is the fact that commentary. So like normally when there is a new faction and they finally get their name, we get the reasoning behind their name. Like last week, for example, I think it was. Oh yeah, it's like American made. We got the reason behind that because they're all American made. Blah blah blah. Okay, fine, that makes sense. That's the reasoning behind it.
So what was the reason?
The whole match.
Fusion Collective. I must have missed it. What was it?
Oh, don't worry. I don't even think they even said it because, like, I sat there the whole match just sitting there waiting. Okay, so what's the reason behind their name, Michael Cole? Oh, you're not talking about that?
Okay,
oh.
forget that. Because even Michael Cole said, try saying that 10 times back to back.
Yeah, I thought that's when we were gonna get it. Was gonna like around that time, but no, we didn't.
I'm
We
like,
just got Pat McAfee being like pure physical, like, and he couldn't even finish it because then like the match was almost over, and it's like, dude, the fudge nuggets, man. Come on, like, tell me why? Why are you named Pure Fusion Collective? Is this gonna be on online and online exclusive now? Oh, make sure to check out WWE.com for your online exclusive. Find out exactly why they're named Pure Fusion
Also,
Collective. Like, oh my gosh.
Zoe Stark, why the fuck were you extra tan tonight? 2, your promo behind work with Sonya and Shayna, you look like you didn't care about this promo, Zoe. This is as a fan, your body language was look like you was trying to speak too early during the promo, and 2, your tan was too extra. Like I felt like you was just bronze as hell, girl. You was OD bronze. I didn't understand what you were doing in the aspect. So, Zoe Stark, I don't really understand the character work, or it must be that you truly are bored of this storyline and you're not entertained by this itself, and you don't want to be part of this. If it is, it tells in front of the camera. So to let you know, that's not a good thing or bad thing. It's just like, hey, if you don't want this to be seen too much obvious, maybe try to improve it or cool it down. But the fight itself,
Heel turn.
I love to see them coming back together. What was it called? Io Sky and Kairi Sane. What was their tag name?
The
Sky
Sky
Pirates. Sky Pirates. Really dope to see that and hear that. I was not aware of that because I remember it was called the Kabuki Warriors with with Kairi Sane and Jordan Blank and her name. She's right now out.
Asuka,
thank you. Oh my god, the name's such a true blank.
Blanking on my girl's name. I see.
I know. I'm sorry. Is it like top of my head?
I know Sydney.
But I'm glad to see Io Sky and Kairi Sane getting this chance, even though next week we're about to get a triple threat, which I'm not too happy about because it kind of looks like they rinse and repeating the same storyline from what happened last week. I mean, from last PLE that they won, I believe was Clash of the Castle. I believe that's where Isla Dawn and Alba Fire won, and I feel so bad for my champions that are not getting no pop, but that they could take out Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville, and them, and Damage Control. And I love how Whawkins said that they're level 25, but Jade Cargill and Bianca are level 35. So that's why when it comes to them, they can't take them down, but they could take down the other 2 tag team division right now. So that was very intriguing to see. I'm like, how the fuck does that make sense? But then when you told me Whawkins, I understand it more a bit. It's like Brawley is like the champions, but then Jade Cargill and Bianca are like Goku and Vegeta.
So this is what I was trying to think of how to explain it the other night, and I'm so glad I thought of it tonight because it's like because that's how it is. It's like, okay, yeah, they could stand up to a level 20, level 35 Pokemon. Like, okay, let's say it's like a level 35. Ivysaur didn't evolve yet. Quick. Quilladin. I'll use Quilladin because I think it'll still be a Quilladin at level 35. Gen 6, go look it up, anybody. Anyways, it's like a level 35 Quilladin can still like fight and probably beat up a like level 20 Slugma, let's say. Like it can still do some stuff. Like, yeah, the Slugma will, hit hard damage, but like Quilladin might know like a bulldoze or something and be able to take it out and all that. That's probably a horrible, bad example, but like that's kind of where I'm getting at with it. It's just like, okay, they might have the advantage, like an advantage being champions, but they're up against a bit of a stronger opponent, and that's why they kind of look weak to them. Whereas like tonight, they're around people that are more their level, more their size, more like their comfort level of fighting and all that. So it's like, yeah, this makes sense with them being able to stay on top with this. Now, the logic of heels always interfering in a number one contenders match and then ending up having a triple threat match, I mean, maybe we can get away from that trope once in a while. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's a very cheap way to get a triple threat match, you know?
It is, and I'm glad they interrupted because it felt like they were being dominant. Like, that's a good thing. You want your champions to feel dominant, to feel some type of success in the aspect. But I'm hoping to see something different when it comes to Jade Cargill and Bianca in the future, because I really want them to succeed. I want Aslan Dawn and Alba Fire to do well. They were great in NXT UK champions. People don't understand that they were really great wrestlers, great UK champions as well. They were great at NXT, but it sucks that the casual audience are not loving them on the main roster, because I do enjoy them. They're beautiful ladies, they're great wrestlers, and they put the effort, they put the work. So I'm hoping more success for them, but it sucks that they're not getting the pop. And it sucks, like I was gonna mention, I did mention the joke earlier in my Stampede, but people need to understand that we are trying, like us, the audience, me myself, I'm supporting the champs. But it sucks that even myself, who's supporting the champs, are not getting hooked or not being entertained by this woman's storyline of a tag. I feel like if they added the mid-card title already, not saying that the tag belts could be executed and gone and be Thanos snap already, but if they add the mid-card, it might help. Because right now the tag story with these pure fucking fusion collective, stupid as hell name, is involved, and it feels very clunky. Some of the spots are being completely missed in this fight as well. Damage control being involved with them. What happened with Lyra Valkyria? It just feels with this tag team stuff going on, feel very like a hot potato mess. And as they're trying to find their ground, and I feel like they're trying, and I really want them to succeed, because I really want this tag team type of division to have some type of ground, and they're finding it. But with Bianca and Jade, it feels such a dominant force that it's hard to actually want the champion to stay champion when you have an obvious type of strong and dominant powerhouse that is Jade and Bianca. It's like, fuck, how can we have the champs stay champs when you have like a level 35, but the champs are not even able to pass level 25, but it's because they haven't won over the audience yet or have gotten any pop. And that's the thing that sucks, because I really want the champs to have some ground and have some steam. So hope and some best of luck. But Drop, you want some things to say? Let's hear them.
Yeah, see, that's why it's hard for me to really care about these kind of segments or matches or however you want to put it, because they're not really giving me a reason to care about these titles. Because whenever we see these titles on screen, I'll admit I forget that they exist, because they're not really shown to us as much as the other titles that they put a lot more attention to. Because the whole meaning behind these titles when they were first created is because they wanted to do something special for the woman. They wanted to give them these tag titles so they can elevate these titles and make them feel special. And at first they did do that. That's why Mercedes and Naomi were very like pushy with the women's tag titles, because they wanted to put it at a certain level where it felt important. That's why they wanted to pretty much be like the main focus of those titles moving forward, to actually make them feel special. And then once they elevated it and it circulated between different teams, then you would actually look forward to seeing it all the time. But it's just the way that it's being showcased, it's like it doesn't really mean much. So when I see these different kinds of tag matches happen, I just don't care, because
it's more organic when there's tag team players that actually are tag team, like
because a lot of
like
these people,
Katana, Damage Control,
Isla Dawn, Alba Fire,
Asla Dawn, like their tag team. But when you have Shayna and Zoe start, like, nah, they're mid card, like individual or in a main event.
The only
Where
reason
Shayna's like, don't, like, just split them up. If you want to have them in this triple trio of pure fusion collective, fuck it, why not have them as a trio? But go for the main title or go for the mid card title. Don't go for the tag title. Split that shit up, because it really falls flat.
Get rid of it.
It falls flat and it doesn't hold any steam.
Yeah.
And that's not good when your division is trying to hold something, but then you have a tag team players hold you down. It does not hold you up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would honestly get rid of them at this point because they really don't hold any value. I mean, I hate to say it, and I know they try really hard, and there is people I do want to see with titles like that. Like when Damage Control got it for the very first time, I was happy to see Io Sky and Dakota Kai to have something like that. But it's like, and also when Bailey and Sasha had the title, like all those years ago. But it's like now I don't really care about the title. It's almost like something that should have been left in the past at this point when we were moving on into this new era. I mean, you're talking about this mid card title that's being rumored that you want to do down the line, and NXT did it, and that title actually feels special
Yeah.
with Kalan when she's in these different
Mhm.
kinds of matches, and she's actually putting on some pretty good matches for that title. So at least the women have something else to fight over besides the main title NXT. You can easily do the exact same thing on the main roster. So that's why they need to get rid of it. Just have one title, because I'm not really a big fan of like, okay, we're gonna have an intercontinental women's title and United States women's title, because I feel like at that point that's too much. You want to have one mid
Mhm.
card title focusing on both brands where it could circulate from place to place. That's fine, because there's mid carders on SmackDown and there's mid carders on Raw. So at least give both parties something to fight over, and it also gives an excuse where they could go between brands because of that title itself. Because I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys saw, but they're also saying how they want to do a speed championship for the girls. Cool, but you
Oh
have
yeah.
a thought like that in mind, but you're not wanting to put a mid card title on the main roster. You know, that's definitely very questionable, because I just can't stand this like tag title nonsense anymore. It just makes me not care, and it sucks
And
because
I think
a
the
lot of
worst
these
part
women are
too with that.
talented.
And I think exactly like I think the worst part too is like part of like going between the brands too included NXT. And I know like I'm pretty sure Alba Fire and Isla Dawn at least went down there once, but Bianca and Jade I don't think really went down there that often. And it's like you have a plethora of talent in your women's division on NXT. A lot of them are part of teams as well. So it's like utilize them a little bit more. Like I'm not saying, bring them up on the main roster, but like that is a good way. Like if you have your NXT, like a team of NXT women hold the belts, like that are almost ready for the main roster, that could be their trial run by going on to like a SmackDown for like a couple weeks or Raw for a couple weeks. Cause like, oh, who was the one girl that had like that went up to NXT during the last draft, had one match, and we haven't seen anything from her. What's her name again?
I
It's
was
like,
just about to look for her right now. So give me like another 20 seconds.
oh my god,
Oh, I know who you're
like
talking about, Kiana
because she
James.
carried the hand.
Her,
Yeah,
yes.
Kiana James. Like, where has she been? What has she been doing? Like, I don't remember seeing
I don't
anything
know.
of her since that like first couple weeks.
I mean,
It's like,
compared to the girls that are getting the most spotlight right now, that Lyra has that in that favor when
yeah,
it comes to
and
the
we didn't
people
even
that are
freaking
called
get
up.
Lyra Valkyria this week.
Yeah,
But I, I
I
feel
think
like
it said
that's
she was doing
good.
something. I'm not 100% sure.
I feel like honestly,
Okay.
Raw has been cooking since last week with story segments throughout the shows. It's been very well balanced. Has some people lose TV time? Yes, but I'm happy with what they've been doing so far. You know, Callan James, she tried, it failed. Let's get you back next week, 2 weeks from now, or a month from now. Let's see what you could do. But right now, let's do with the story. Right now, with the girls we got. Even like, hey, we got pure, what the fuck is it? Pure Fusion Collective. I'm still mad. I feel like I'm reading a fucking
Yeah.
science project when I read this
No, it's
fucking
like
name.
Yeah.
I'm
Dragon
like,
Ball Z.
I feel like like
Dragon
Dragon
Ball
Ball
Z.
Z. I feel like it's some type of like I feel like it's some type of Sailor
Fusion.
Moon.
Yeah, it could be like some kind of fusion dance.
Anyway, I'd rather talk
Yeah.
about a tsunami. If anything, I'm ready to move on. How about you guys?
Hit me with
Well,
tsunami.
I mean, the match was fine. So, I mean, I do at least want to say that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, we have a big storm on our way because Miz is now the next he's the next victim for Bronson Reed because he wants to match. He wants to prove he's something. And I want to start this segment off before we even begin. Before we even start with this Miz part, I guess Raw's doing a new segment called Raw Physics, where they just like add all these numbers to something that happened, I guess. And it was kind of goofy. I'm not gonna lie, this was kind of goofy.
Oh no, it was
because like
100%.
they're using it to hype up. Yeah, because like they're using it to hype up Bronson Reed by like going through the numbers of last week what happened, and I made sure I wrote down these numbers so we could just like gawk at it. And I even put it in our notes. Nah, I'm about to run these numbers. All right, they're like, all right, Bronson Reed, 6 foot tall, 350 pounds. In 2 minutes and 15 seconds, he hit 6 tsunamis. All right, cool, awesome, neat. Fantastic. But not only that, they go into it. They're like, oh, Reed launched at 45-degree angles from 9 feet in the air, hit with a force of 1,715 pounds. Did that 6 times, and like they even did like this was like death battle levels of math that they were doing, because they were just like, oh, with all that impact, Seth Rollins. Exactly. It's like, oh, after all that, Seth Rollins was hit with a total of 10,290 pounds of force. And they even go more into it. They're just like, that's the amount of weight as 2 elephants or 10 wild boars or 50 kangaroos. And I'm just like,
it was insane. Even Michael Cole asked him during the commentary right after. Michael's like, boy, you really said 15 kangaroos. Pat like, yeah, bro, 50 kangaroos, yeah. He said 2 elephant, 15 tons, guys, 15,000 tons. I was like, yo,
this
Pat,
was just, it was so bonkers and so cartoony.
As hell, my God, what a baloney are you talking about? I really love that segment. And even to follow up with Whawkins' segment of talking about the numbers, we even had the Miz try to lie with his numbers as well. Miz numbers, he said 21 times WWE Winner Championship. So that must mean that somehow from 2 hours ago, we were told by Michael Cole that Randy Orton is going for the 15th time, and John Cena and Ric Flair has the record of 16 times. So somehow the Miz went somewhere and won it 5 times more times to become 21 times at the end. Because it was hilarious how he lied.
So I'm pretty sure they were counting all of his title wins, not world title wins. So they were counting like the 2 world championships he's won.
Oh, the IC titles
the 8 title, the 8 IC titles, and however many like US title, tag titles. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what they meant by that number.
Oh, they did. That it also makes sense. That's something the Miz would do as well, trying to sound cocky that he has 21 overall.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. It's like they tried the numbers part with Miz, and you're just looking at it. You're like, oh, that's cute.
It was adorable. And at the moment, we also saw Mark Henry and Jacob Henry. I love what Pat McAfee said, that Jacob Henry has been squatting for 600 pounds. That's fucking insane to be squatting 600 pounds. So just if people are unaware, with Jacob Henry also got signed by WWE. So that's also an interesting news to know.
Oh man, but Drop, I want to know how did you feel about how this match got set up? Because it was set up by our boy R-Truth, just getting things confused, and even Randy Orton trying to help Miz get pumped up with this. How'd you feel about this little backstage part of it all?
It was funny hyping him up, even though he was gonna get torn apart when he came out there. Because based on what we've seen with Bronson lately, I mean, it's kind of like one of those Elden Ring boss battles with him.
Oh, yeah.
It was brutal.
Oh, my gosh. One of those Elden Ring bosses when you've never played a FromSoft game, and you're just like, ooh, who's this tree sentinel? And you're dead. Oh. Let me try that again. Oh, dead. Well,
That's
let me
actually
try to dodge
the
this way.
perfect. That's actually the perfect enemy to compare Bronson to, because when you're going up against a tree sentinel in that game, it keeps
Yeah.
going back and forth trying to hit you, and that's literally what Bronson Reed does. Because if you're at a certain spot in that game, you're just sitting there at that one spot, or it knocks you over, and you still have some health left, it comes at you again to hit you over and over and over again. Even if you're healing, it keeps hitting you over and over and over again. That's pretty much Bronson Reed in a nutshell.
Yep. Because all you have to do is just lay there, and he'll hit tsunami after tsunami.
And that's definitely going to be a super finisher in 2K25 too.
Oh yeah! Oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna make a giant guy.
Look, I just love that they just continue to push Bronson Reed in this way with Adam Pearce screaming at him, telling him out, come out of this, don't do this, like stop. And Bronson Reed is just like, yo, I'm the big dude on this block. This is my place. This is my ring. And him just staring at the camera saying, this is my ring. To come here. I will knock you down. I'll take you down. Who are you? I will take you down. 6 tsunamis. This man kept going for it. R-Truth was selling it really great. I was loving that R-Truth was getting the beat down. The revs, the producers were, selling the spot, saying, no, don't do it. It's like, and also it's hilarious because it's like, y'all could just drag him from where he is. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, just letting this man be in the middle of the ring and just keep getting tsunami after tsunami where, like, y'all could literally just take him down outside, just walk him off. Like, there's nothing in the medical that will tell you to not have him move because he's having internal bleeding. You're technically letting him be causing more internal bleeding by getting jump after tsunami, or like Mr. Pat McAfee said, was a 1,000 pounds of tons going after pound.
Yeah,
of 50 kangaroos.
And I think the best thing to point out too is this isn't the Miz that he did these 6 tsunamis to. No, he only did like 1 tsunami to Miz, and that was it. I mean, Miz tried here and there because he's a smart little cookie, but
he ran. He's like,
Bronson Reed ate him up. Yeah. But no, it was R-Truth. So, Bronson Reed, even Michael Cole on commentary said, R-Truth is a national treasure. Like, oh, you got some heat from this one. And I just want to just do a quick rundown. What's up?
I was gonna say that's actually a perfect way for him to get a lot of heat too, because
everybody
loves Truth so much. Whenever he's out there, people just go wild. So knowing how he completely dismantled him, I mean, that's definitely gonna get him even more hated.
Yeah, and I swear, if he keeps this up, I don't know how these notes are gonna hold out, because like literally, I'm looking at it right now, because like, oh my god, the whole time he's doing these tsunamis, like, okay, hits the Miz. Wait, no, not a second one.
Read off your whole comment, because it's hilarious, because people don't understand that while I was gonna comment, I kept seeing Whawkins react, adding a sentence, a run-on sentence, back to back, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna respond anything or write anything. I'm gonna just let this man just rant. So Whawkins, read off your one comment, run-on sentence in one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Death Valley Driver into the tsunami ends it for the Miz. Wait, no, not a second one. Never mind. Truth each one. Now 2. No more, Reed. Oh, you bastard. Not 3. Please have mercy. No, Reed, do not do a 4th. Please don't do a 5th. Pierce, fucking stop him. He's gonna be extinct. Control King Kong. No, not the 5th. Please don't get a 6th. Get out of here. Pierce, fire him. That will solve it. No. Suspending him? No. Not a 6th one. You fuck. Like, all you have to do is fire the dude. Just fire him. Trade him to SmackDown. You can get somebody else. Like, you can get rid of him. You cannot You can put the bottle down, Pierce. You don't have to drink anymore. You haven't asked for one, but I know in secret you're asking for
There's
one.
always shit going on Raw. Like minus
There
like
is.
Bronson Reed, there's always shit going on, and it seems like everything's just so hard for him to keep track of. And it's even funny, like, because I remember I was downstairs watching this, and it's just funny when they're telling him to stop, and then let's say like this is Bronson Reed, this is the remote control to my air conditioner. Let's say this is Bronson Reed, and he's like on the top rope, and then they're like, oh stop, and this is like R-Truth, and then it's like they feed it to him, where it's like, okay, here you go.
Like,
yeah,
drag him
it's
out
like
of the ring, guys. Drag
yeah,
him
it's like
out of the fucking ring.
Yeah, it's like you have food in your hand trying to feed it to the dog. You keep feeding it more and more and more and more when there needs to be a stop point. But no, they just keep going over and over and over again.
Like, I get it. It's part of the spot. I get it. It's part of the selling. I get it. It's part of the story. But I wish they would make it, like, less obvious. Of, like, don't do it. Don't drop. But, like, y'all could just push him off the corner. Y'all could just push him off the corner. Like, what type of bylaws are we supposed to believe that the producer and the ref are not supposed to touch the wrestlers because they're on the ring and the match has not started? Like, what type of bylaws that are we not aware of that is not supposed to be happening? So, overall, I love this segment. It was a great way to continue off the hype man of Bronson Reed, and for Adam Pearce to be telling Bronson Reed backstage about Seth Rollins, saying that, hey, you made this man be gone for a couple weeks because he has internal bleeding and everything. And I'm like, I guess that's a good way to sell why Seth Rollins not coming to work. I guess that's a good way, because this man is in the hospital having internal bleeding and he's coughing up blood. It's believable. Yeah, sure, I guess.
Yeah. Apparently, Seth is taking some time off to just kind of keep healing, I guess. Like, I think he may have come back a little too early.
I think it's good that they wrote him off for the time being, only because we're still doing the Punk and Drew story right now. So
exactly.
We definitely need to give some breathing room before he starts feuding with Punk after Bad Blood, I would assume.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, but man, I hope they keep like building Bronson Reed up, because like I don't want him to have this good program and then to fall at the end.
No, because here's the thing, and I also saw JD mention this as well. I think him and Solo Monster were talking about it on the Tuesday Night Titans podcast, where I think they said the way that you're building up Bronson Reed right now, you need to have him win that match against Rollins. You can't have Rollins do this Captain America shit where like he wields Thor's hammer and he's like beating the shit out of Thanos. Like, you need to actually have Seth come back, put on a good match at Bronson Reed, but have him win so he can keep that momentum. And if you want Bronson to lose down the line, okay, but with all this momentum that Bronson has, that's something that's definitely needed for his character, because he's over with the crowd now. You have people cheering one more, especially when it comes to somebody like R-Truth that a lot of people love. He's over with the crowd. Feed into it and have him win so he can gain that momentum, because if Seth Rollins loses a match against Bronson Reed, it's not going to affect him at all. He's bulletproof.
Oh, no.
He's already well established. He's perfectly fine. Look at Cody Rhodes. He's bulletproof. Randy Orton. He's bulletproof. So if Seth takes a loss, he'll be perfectly fine.
And
I
agree with that.
And I don't know if this is going to be a Bash in Berlin match, or this is going to be a. It kind of feels like whenever Seth does come back, it kind of feels like a Bad Blood match. I don't know why. It feels more Bad Blood theme. But
it does, like, and plus that would help, kind of sell the injuries a little bit more, like keeping him out past Berlin too, because that's one thing I do like about current WWE is they do sell injuries like that, especially if they're like internal, external. Like they've gotten a lot better with that, because I remember a time where it's just like, oh yeah, we had a Hell in a Cell match last night and I'm on Raw, no bandages, like I'm feeling great, I could keep going. It's just like, well, hold on, you literally went to hell the night before and you're fine. Like, I don't know, like that was always weird to me.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
like our boy Jacob Fatu's not here this past Friday because he had to sell the job
yep.
that he was got beat up too
Mhm.
much, so he's
I
not
also
here.
feel like it.
Man, to come to work, so I love that. So like
Yeah.
it shows a
Yeah.
dedication to the story, off air and honor. Even you know what, I'll say this. This is a great way for a segue to the Raw overall thoughts. Even having Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan curse online over this past weekend saying "fuck you," use the word "fuck you," and even our truth tweeting under them saying that isn't
I don't
this
think this is PG.
yeah, I don't think this is PG. This is work work violation or something like that, and it works to the
Yeah.
comment to the story, and it's true because Archer saying like they have to be representing role models outside of work too because they are on camera like any type of actor, actresses, or creator as well because we are role models to the future generations that a lot of people don't realize. So when it comes to wrestling to the wrestlers, they say fuck you on social media. It plays to the character. Even Archer saying that. So I love how it plays to the story outside and inside the ring.
Exactly. But yeah, so I mean that was basically Raw overall. Vash, did you have anything more to say about Raw overall tonight? I mean, you
Look,
kind of hit on a couple points tonight, but yeah.
Look, Chad, if you want to hear my overall thoughts, you go back to each segment of the time code of a description and you'll find my overall thoughts. Other than that, Raw was a good conversation. I had a good time with my boys, a good time with my team. We had a great conversation. I appreciate you guys for checking us out.
Mm-hmm.
Drop. You have anything to say? Because I know you missed two segments. So if you want to give your thoughts of the White Six and
Oh yeah.
the other segment I forgot that you missed, I believe it was
Oh, the Pete Dunne
American Made.
Sheamus
No,
part.
I did. I believe
Oh,
the
and American Made, yeah.
yeah, the American Made as well.
It was yeah.
Well, to give my quick thoughts on that, I thought it was a good match, and I thought it was good to establish where Ivy's going because you would think
Mhm.
since this is pretty much Gable's new version of American Alpha, you would expect that you would have two new guys and one new girl.
Makes sense. Yeah,
So
you got a point.
he only knew a matter of time she was going to be a part of it as well, which I think is really good. So it definitely puts her in a good direction, helps build them up because they are like legit.
Yeah, they
So
are.
they definitely
Oh yeah.
deserve a push. I am happy about that. And I like how it was a Texas tornado match because that's mainly how I play games that's mainly how I play tag matches in 2K anyway. Because I always love
Mhm.
having the full tag team in the middle of the ring where there's no like, okay, I'm gonna tag you and I'm gonna do this. Like everybody's in the ring, they're all going all over the place. I like that. And Oba Femi staring down Otis. You never know, that might allude to something tomorrow on NXT, but that's my main thoughts on
Mhm.
that. Wyatt 6, I love how we're getting like it's mainly what I like about these VHS tapes is the characterization that we're getting on Bo Dallas, where we're actually getting a better understanding of the character, and we know that this is actually being treated properly. So we know that there is a lot of love being put into this. So I really do love that. And also
Mhm.
with Pete Dunne, I mean, I personally wanted this from Pete Dunne for the longest time because ever since I saw him in NXT, this was the kind of character that he pushed himself out to be. So it's nice that that's finally coming out on the main roster. And he's not wrong for what he says when it came to the comments that he said about Sheamus because he was Sheamus's lapdog pretty much. I mean, whenever he called out, whenever Sheamus called him out to do things, he was there. So it's nice that he's breaking out of that shell because people who know who Pete Dunne is, people know that Pete Dunne isn't displayed that way. He's actually very vicious and he puts on a lot of great matches. So I am happy about that. So
Exactly.
those are mainly like my overall thoughts on that. But as the show as a whole, it did what it needed to do. It was a solid show. It built up on storylines, which is the main factor with a lot of these Raws that I've noticed for the past couple weeks, especially with last week's Raw, which is probably one of the best Raws I've seen in a while this year.
Oh yeah. Oh
Because
yeah.
I like how it's like very story focused, and that's what we got with a lot of these different segments and matches throughout the night, and I do appreciate that. Even if it's very minimal, I still appreciate it. Besides, one match in particular that I don't really care about. Besides two other individuals that are actually very talented and actually deserve a top spot. not saying that they're bad, but you're not really giving me a reason to care. But that's mainly my overall thoughts on the show.
Cool. All right. And I mean, yeah, I thought this was a really, really strong Monday Night Raw. I think the one thing that one indicator for me of a really good Raw is when we get to the third hour and it feels like the past 2 hours just like sped by. That's usually for me a good sign that okay, this is a good Monday Night Raw, because like same thing happened last week where it felt like it sped by and like everything just kind of made sense story wise. I like the flow that Triple H is getting with handling a 3-hour show. I think he had some reservations at first with having a 3-hour show Raw. But I feel like he does a lot better with the 3 hours kind of than he does with the 2-hour show SmackDown. But that's neither here nor there, but that's also, weekly as well too. So that changes with that. But
look, I can't wait.
I don't know,
can't wait to see the better version of the 3-hour show with no commercial and with no mic problem
that
and
too.
no picture to picture this week, because last week y'all want to give it to us, but then this week y'all said nah. So fuck you, USA.
Sci-fi loves us.
I love sci-fi. Can we go back to sci-fi? But no, guys, we're fucking 4 months away from Netflix. 4 months away.
And SmackDown comes back to USA
September
soon,
3rd,
actually.
September 3rd, I believe.
Yeah.
September 7th, somewhere around there. So,
Yeah, it's around September time.
Fuck USA respectfully. Love sci-fi and can't wait for Netflix. And maybe when we come to Netflix, we're gonna see back Rey Mysterio in a commercial for beer.
Maybe he might do a commercial for beer. Who knows? I don't know. But you know what? I wish I did know where I could go to kind of talk to us if we wanted to talk anything about wrestling or video games or anime, manga, and all that. I don't know. Like, Vash, do you know where I could find any of that information? Where I could find us on these social medias? Like,
so
I don't know. I'm lost here.
So let me spit some knowledge to you guys. Go for AniMa Studio, as you see in the bottom of the screen, on your bottom left corner, everywhere else at Legend D Vash DropThisBox, Whawkins MW. We are your hosts, co-hosts from the Weebs of the Ring podcast. Like you see in the hashtag below, we appreciate it, and we're presented by AniMa Studio, the brand and the company, where we have annually podcasts as well this coming Thursday at 9 p.m. EST, talking about everything of RDJ's Doom. We have D23, San Diego Comic-Con, Otron, all these news that has been happening over the past couple of weeks, exclusively as well for next week for the Deadpool movie review of Wolverine. And this coming Friday, our SmackDown Trouble Chief, the original Trouble Chief, is back on this Friday as well, once again. So stay tuned. We're coming back.
Coming back with a bang as well. So yeah, just want to give a special shout out to everybody that joined us on the live chat. I saw you, Oblivion. I saw you, Pizza Pool. I saw a new person, Jaco Robertson. So thank you guys for coming out, joining us on the live show. Viewership been pretty good. I see we got 14 likes on the live portion of this, so if you're watching the VOD, make sure to give it a like. Bump that up to maybe 20. If it is, then maybe I'll take Sydney to get her shots so she doesn't feel like death and all that. But also, thank you guys.
I want to give a quick shout out to my friends, because we did get the additional views and likes from my friends. So a big shout out to Graham, to Neko, Nate, and Miles, and Judwell, because I did send them the link and they probably did support us and put the extra likes, because they said that I got you. So with short words, I appreciate it.
I'll bet. Hell yeah. Well, we appreciate you, and we do want to thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, why not do exactly what Vash just said? We are known as AniMa Studio on all social media platforms. Just remember, that's we with a 3. Also, use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring to interact with us about anything regarding wrestling before, during, or after our shows. Feedback is always appreciated, as we are nothing without you tuning in. Weebs of the Ring is presented by AniMa Studio, thanks to our production team of Vash, Whawkins, DropThisBox, Rome, and Jokester. as well as special thanks to JB and Abe. Thank you for joining us, and remember, as always, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, everybody.
Deuces.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Terror Twins. Unite.